Hey everyone, and welcome to Eternal Mooncast, a streaming show about deep dives into all things Sailor Moon. From fan theories to hidden lore to full character studies, we cover everything magical in the Mooniverse. I'm your host, Michi, and with me this month is my co-host, Duckie. Let's let
Mhm.
Duckie introduce herself for this special episode.
Quack, quack. It me, your girl bird. I am a 30-something cosplayer. I'm disabled, a lifelong Moonie, and your friendly neighborhood LICSW today. My day job is outpatient therapy. So, our quick disclaimer for me and Ari is I'm not your therapist. Watching this episode of Eternal Mooncast does not constitute therapy. This is for fun and educational purposes only and is not meant to assess, diagnose, or treat any mental health conditions that you may have. If you're experiencing a mental health crisis, please call 988 or your preferred local warm line for support. If you need help accessing therapy, please reach out to NAMI at 1-800-950-NAMI 6264 or the Open Path Collective. And then for our regular disclaimer, before we dive into this month's show, a quick Moonie disclaimer. We would like to remind everyone that these are just our personal opinions. We do not in any way represent Toei or the Sailor Moon intellectual property. We just really like to talk about Sailor Moon. If you'd like to jump to a specific topic from tonight's show, timestamps will be in the description box down below. For tonight's topic, we are diving into mental health and Sailor Moon. Joining us tonight is our special guest, cosplay ancestor Ari, and I will let them introduce themselves.
Hi, my name is Ari. I have a degree in school counseling. I've been a school counselor for about 10 years. I'm currently in higher education, and I am also an author of the Fangirl Diaries, which is all about finding community through anime fandom and in girlhood during a time when anime was still niche and in a time before social media and before streaming. Yeah, thank you so much for having me. I've been a Sailor Moon fan since I was in sixth grade when it first started airing in the United States. It's been like my number one favorite fandom. I'm even wearing my Sailor Moon cameo necklace for this occasion.
Yes, I
Yes.
love it.
Yeah, and I just can't wait to just kind of dive deep into my favorite things like therapy, mental health, and Sailor Moon. That's three, but mental health and Sailor Moon because I have a lot we can say about this as a show, and also just in its made a commentary as well because it's done so much for a lot of femme and queer folks when we think about Sailor Moon, what it represented, and all the friendships that it fosters.
Definitely. We are going to have a wonderful show. I'm here as the everyday Moonie and co-host for Duckie to keep the show hopefully and restream in line. So let's go ahead and dive into it. I'm glad, I know you already gave your disclaimer. I know everybody is super excited in the comments for this episode. I know this has been a long awaited episode.
I know, I'm really excited for this. To kick things off, kind of thinking broadly about like mental health representation within Sailor Moon and like how some of the themes of the show kind of connect to like broader themes that Ari and I work with in kind of daily practice, that sort of a thing. We'll kind of talk about like good and accurate representation versus stuff that hasn't aged so well or things that aren't quite so like on the mark as far as like representations of different like mental health topics or conditions. So, to kick things off, I feel like
I mean, like, as long as we get to talk about Tuxedo Mask and his room of mirrors, because eventually I really want to. I've always wanted to heard somebody who's educated talk on that. So
yeah, we talked about that. What was it in the live one at Katsu, right? Of if
yeah,
I had double corneal abrasions and there was a little voice inside my head telling me that the solution to that pain was buy a bunch of mirrors, I too would have bought $1 million worth of mirrors to escape that.
yeah.
Just saying. But yeah, okay. I guess kind of thinking in terms of like broader themes of like adolescence and kind of where we are situated like developmentally, because like where you are in life has implications for your overall mental health and like things that you may be struggling with. So one of our like famous theorists, Mr. Eric Erikson, was a student of Freud's. That's another TED talk for another day. I will keep my feelings about Mr. Mans to myself. But basically, he kind of came up with this like further iteration of developmental psychology of kind of each age and stage of development has this like conflict that needs to be resolved in order for you to like proceed to your next life stage healthily. And if it doesn't get resolved properly, then that will show up and cause problems for you down the line. So the central conflict of adolescence is identity development versus identity diffusion or confusion, right? So like, who am I separate from my parents? Who am I as a person? Who do I want to be as I move into adulthood? I'm trying on different things and like seeing kind of what fits, what doesn't, what feels right to me. There's a lot of experimentation going on, that sort of a thing. And I think you can see that play out for all of our girls. And also just like kind of commentary on Sailor Moon. Like Usagi in particular, I think is such a good representation of, hi, here's how a normal adolescent responds to scary monster has like body snatched her mom's best friend, right? Like crying and running away. Yeah, that is how most 14-year-olds would like react to the situation, right? And normalizing, hey, it's okay to have big emotions. Like you don't have to hide these things. You don't have to suppress or repress these things in order to be loved and in order to kick ass, right? You can cry about it and then go beat some scary monsters up with your tears. But yeah, and I love that for her.
Yeah, piggybacking off of that, one thing I like about Usagi as the main character is I find that she's very relatable because growing up as a kid, I kind of felt like a lot of our main characters kind of had like this, I gotta be like this perfect personality already there. I mean, I hate using the term, but I feel like it doesn't matter what gender it is, like the Mary Sue-isms. It's like this character doesn't have any flaws, they're perfect, and they're the ideal hero. And when I watched Sailor Moon, because I was, even though I'm Asian, let's throw stereotypes aside, she was a struggling student. I could relate to that. She wasn't perfect. And I just kind of feel like this feels like a very normal for middle schooler. And even like when she's thrown into battle, yeah, like she's still like, okay, that's a scary monster over there. That's like a vacuum turned into a monster. What's going on? And especially like when you see that first episode of the monster of the day doing that exorcist head spin. Like,
yes. Like the early body horror in Sailor Moon, like absolutely.
See, to me, she's never more 14 than when it's the Doom and Gloom girls.
Oh my god. Why
That
you
to
do
me,
this to me?
like it's the most understandable 14-year-old like breakdown I've ever seen. And like,
yeah.
she feels so small.
Yeah, Usagi's crash outs in the first season, I feel like are like really, yes, good. And yeah, like she's a flawed heroine, she's a flawed protagonist, and we see her like grow over time. And that's like the nice thing with adolescence too, right? Is that you like grow into this identity, right? So for her, it's like being the moon princess, and like even as she gets closer to this like ideal heroine, she still is getting like bad grades. She's still like sleeping in too late. She's still like late for school, like all of these things, right? So like those two things don't have to be like, you don't have to give up your flaws. You don't have to give up the things that make you in order to like have this great power and everything else. Monster Bake Oven. But yeah, no, like I didn't appreciate Usagi as like a teenager, but I definitely appreciate her now as an adult. I was like deeply annoyed by her as an adolescent. I was like, why can't she just get her shit together? Like, ugh.
Yeah. Even though, yeah, I like Usagi, I also like the other characters too. I like Minako because, again, I grew up with Sailor Moon in the 90s. Like, oh my god, she reminds me of Alicia Silverstone in a way. And then I also like Sailor Mars because it was the first time I saw like a character that had like black hair who was like one of the good guys. Because like American animation, if a femme character had black hair, she was the villain. And I'm looking at you, Duchess Raven Waves from Lady Lovely Locks. And by the way, she's still iconic. But it's just nice to see a heroine with black hair, just as an Asian.
Yeah. Yeah, and Hataru too. I mean, I know she's like halfway a villain.
That was like my emo representation I needed.
Yes. our pink purple little gay solidarity. But yeah, and I think that kind of like goes really nicely with kind of like all of the girls being like really positive representation and like all of these different types of female characters that are available for this adolescent and like younger audience to kind of attach themselves to and find these kind of role models in. And like a lot of the research that I used to do too long ago, redacted years ago, kind of looked at the role of role models in media and these like parasocial relationships and having a positive influence on mental health, even if like these role models never interacted with the youth in real life versus like, hi, my aunt is my role model and is like in my life sort of a thing. The effects are like smaller than real one-to-one relationships, but still better than adolescents that didn't or weren't able to identify a role model. So kind of looking at, and all of them are flawed in their own way too, right? Like even the characters that seem so perfect, none of them are free from problems. All of them are wrestling with identity questions.
I'd argue the more perfect they seem, the more problems they have.
Mhm.
Yeah, especially when you have Ray's character and like I know Ray has like a different personality in the 90s anime and the manga and the live action, but looking back at Ray like from like a 2020s lens, she has like the both the positives and the negatives of the term girl boss.
Yes.
Yes.
100%. Like she's very much, oh my God, Jennifer, I swear to God. I'm going to tell the dog to bite. Momo's got a lot of problems.
Don't worry, everybody. I'm saving your comments for when we go into comments.
Yes. So yeah, like kind of looking at Rei as like this girl boss character, like you meet her, Usagi is like literally, yeah, I'm gonna follow this girl on the demon bus because heart eyes. I love that Usagi's bisexuality is just like the motivation for most of the plot of season 1. Like, yes, pretty girl, must follow, let's go. Found another one. Hey Luna, look.
Luna, look, let's keep going.
Yeah, we stand a bi icon in this house. But yeah, like Rei seemingly has it all, right? Like she's got like these beautiful, luscious long black hair and the long leggies. She is Sailor Mars of the red heel. But
She's
like
idol, shrine maiden.
yeah, like
She can do it all.
But like dead mom, deadbeat politician dad, like
Daddy issues.
daddy issues.
Especially in
Casablanca
PGSM.
memories, anyone.
Oh, PGSM. I want to like hug her.
Yes. I just love how PGSM just deep dives a lot into the characters. Like they actually address Mercury being a product of divorce. And they also, and again, just going through Ray's daddy issues as well. And that's just I felt like one of the strongest points of PGSM because again, it just really dived deeper into each of the inner century stories that we didn't really get to see in like any media prior. And that's why I just tell people don't sleep on PGSM. It's so good.
Yes, exactly. And like Ami, you know, and her like perfectionistic kind of tendencies and like all of the like her whole arc is, am I anything more than the brains of this operation? Is that all I'm good for, is getting good grades and helping Usagi not fail out of school so that she can write like grammatically questionable letters to her daughter from the past and the future? Like taking Japanese is like, because now that I can read what Usagi wrote, I'm like, girl, you better study harder. And oh, do I want to be a doctor like my mom? And like, what is it to wrestle with both like the regular adolescent identity pieces and what does it mean for me to have all these hopes and dreams like a normal girl and be a senshi and be a warrior and have this predestined magical destiny. Yeah, that's
Yeah, and another thing that like I don't know, I forgot whether or not PGSM brought this up, but I know it's very subtly brought up in the Cloverway version of, but you have to look very carefully because it's only alluded in the if you know the backstory, if you just read between the lines. So Jupiter, her parents died, she kind of lives by herself, has an unknown benefactor just who's supporting her. However, there is a song on the Luna Rock CD, which is supposed to be like her image song, a song called Daddy's Girl.
Tell me more.
Yeah, I haven't listened to the song in a while, but I kind of forgot. It just kind of crossed my mind. I'm like, oh yeah, Jupiter is like, because we don't explore her just kind of living on her own, because
Mhm.
we always see her as just being like the strong one, both emotionally and physically. And I think that also has to do to just the product of her just kind of being having to fend for herself, being on her own. And if you have a chance, listen to the song "Daddy's Girl" on the Luna Rock CD. It's a slow, like 90s indie core kind of a vibe to it. And you know what? I do appreciate that this came out of the Cloverway version. It's You won't hear it in the anime because the Cloverway version they ended up using the original Japanese music. But
Mhm.
if you want to like just dive more into that, highly recommend listening to it. Oh,
I
not
thought
Cloverway.
that was going in a completely different direction. I just looked up the, like, lyrics. Just, like, I know Mako was supposed to be, like a Yankee originally, like,
Yeah,
Naoko wanted her to be, like, chain smoking and, like, in a gang.
she does have some Yankee gal aesthetics, kind of there's a longer skirt, the Suka
Mhm.
Pendeka kind of aesthetic to it. She does
Yeah,
still have a lot of that coding, but she's kind of not.
yeah. So, yeah, like, with Mako too, of, like, kind of having to take care of everybody else and, like, in the way that she wasn't taken care of because, like, had dead parents, that sort of a thing, and navigating her, like, kind of feminine interests with, like, her more masculine ones, and, "Okay, I wanna, like, be strong and kick your ass, but I also wanna bake cakes and be a florist," that sort of a thing.
Mhm.
And then baby girl, my beloved Minako. Like, I could yap for days. But I think for her, just kind of like, "Oh, hey, like, I'm getting older and I'm not special anymore," right? I'm no longer, like, number 1, like, I'm now second fiddle to Sailor Moon, and, like, what does that mean for me? And, oh, a bunch of the other girls in this group have similar dreams of being an idol, doing this or that or the third. How do I make myself known and individual? How do I, like, be my own person while sharing all of these interests with the rest? How do I be a leader? And, like, even with, like, Pluto, who's arguably, like, the most, I mean, she's, like, timeless,
Mhm.
but, you know, like, her role in the beginning is just, "You guard the time door, don't break the taboos." And how do we kind of, like, navigate this new role that's, like, outside of what she's been prescribed for literal millennia? And then the rest of the outers, my beloveds, right? Ah, yes, the most picture perfect. Oh, they have it all, Senshi. And you peel back a singular layer of onion, and it's, oh, this can fit so much trauma. Oh
Yes.
boy. Like,
Again, the
these,
more together they seem, the more they're really. Sailor Moon
yeah.
teaches us about that, I guess.
Yeah, like, I think, it's kind of like even these most, like, idealized Senshi, like, still have their problems, right? Of, like, the outer Senshi go the entire season of S thinking that they are the worst of the worst, that they are the most impure people on the planet. They're gonna get their hands dirty because the precious princess can't. And, like, "Hey, guess what? You're the pure heart crystal holders. Hee hee." And that kind of, like, redemption arc for them of, like, "Hey, you can have these qualities that we normally think of as bad, but, like, still be the good guys, still be the purest of them all," right? Like, Usagi's got her, like, extra sparkly one, but, like, she is not a pure heart crystal holder, right?
I still like the Venus episode of
Oh
that
my
arc
god.
where she does everything she can do to like, "Hey, do I have a pure heart? Do I have a pure heart?" And she
Mhm.
comes and goes into this try hard personality where like I need to do everything I can so like maybe the monsters will get me if I show like all these acts of kindness. And it's silly as she goes about it, but it's also just kind of, girl, what are we doing here?
Yeah, no, it's like that episode, like, it's played for laughs, but it breaks my heart every single time. I love, like, how manic she is when she finally, like, gets hit, and then she's like, "Yeah, I got it," and then still is running around afterwards because she's so desperate for approval, she's so desperate for validation through others, and I think, like, the culmination of her arc in Stars where she's like, "Nope, I don't need to be an idol, I'm good," is just so satisfying. because of all of the near misses throughout the seasons with her character growth. But yeah, no, that is probably like that, and the final one in Stars is probably like tied for my top Mina episodes. And yeah, and like Hotaru, my precious little nugget, this poor little girl. Like, I think for her too, like kind of looking at like sequelae of trauma and like abuse and, you know, what is it to be raised by really, really bad people, right? And is there still hope for me? Am I inherently bad because of where I come from, or can I forge a new path for myself, right? And we see this elsewhere too, like with the Ayakashi sisters, and I suppose Diamond gets his redemption in the end.
Really do we really want to redeem him though?
No,
There's some villains that aren't redeemable. I am looking at there was a particular villain in Stars in the final arc that I felt that should not have been redeemed, because as a cat person, this character should not have been redeemed. I don't give a crap. He's like, oh, her character design's cute, I like her. And like, no, she only shows up for like what, less than 10 minutes. She does very bad things to kitties, and I love kitties. And no, she doesn't deserve redemption arc. No, thank you. Hot take.
No, that's fair. She could have stayed. What are they? Phages in the yeah. Agreed. And yeah, and Chibi Usa too. Like, I think, you know, on the flip of what is it to grow up as, you know, in the shadow of somebody so large as like literal queen of the universe, Neo Queen Serenity, right? What does that do to your psyche? What does that do to your identity development, right? And hi, Arrested Development, anyone?
900 years old.
Yeah.
Like, the manga kind of hits on this of she is bullied so severely that she stops aging, right? And this is like one thing that I feel like I greatly dislike her in the anime, and I find her much less sympathetic without that past context, because it does really feel like she's just like a spoiled tiny child in the anime. But like with the manga context of, yeah, okay, like she's so unlike her mother, and ironically the ways in which she is so unlike her mother, who's a proper lady, is like all of the things that Usagi is in the present, right? Crybaby, clumsy, like not very ladylike, this, that, the third, right? So she is so much like her mother, but believes that she's not, and like can't take it, and that makes her vulnerable to being groomed by terrible, terrible men and like being manipulated into doing evil, you know, kind of looking at that. And I'm not going to address our Freudian tomfoolery with all that, but Ikuhara do be Ikuharaing. That is what I will say on that. But yeah, I think that's all of our girls in there, kind of like major conflicts, but
everybody has baggage. It's just different baggage.
Exactly, right? And like in each of these characters, there's something that like some young viewer is going to latch onto and be like, oh, that's just like me. Maybe it's okay for me to be like that, because Usagi loves all of her homies despite their flaws, and still sees like the inherent goodness and worth in like all of her friends.
And that's one of the strong points I find about the Sailor Senshi team is that they're girls who come from different backgrounds who had not been friends otherwise had Usagi not discovered them and their fate were to be the Sailor Senshi. So that's one of the strong points of the team dynamic is they have these different personalities. They have like these different ideas of what leadership is or like how to defeat an enemy. And I just really appreciated like each of them just kind of have just something that someone can relate to. And I just felt like that very much humanized them. And again, just growing up in the late 90s, there wasn't a lot of all-girl team up kind of cartoons towards our age demographic of like single digit of age, middle school-ish. And just seeing like just a group of girls where they're just all together, and it was not like a group of boys and there's like maybe two girls,
a couple of
the
girls,
tomboy and the girly girl, and that's about it. But I really appreciate that Sailor Moon showed me like, yeah, there's a lot of different ways to express femininity, and we're all complicated, even if it's some extra baggage here and there. So I just one of the reasons what attracted me into being a Moonie.
Yes, absolutely. And I think kind of on that note too, like positive queer representation, like even with overweight friends, my cousins, like baby me still knew that was homo, right? And oh, okay, like this is a thing that people do. And like having that representation too, especially in a media landscape that was largely becoming homophobic at that time, was like really, really important. And also, oh my god, yes, Brad and Chad also
We have to
exist.
explain that to Ari because Ari doesn't know
Oh,
our stupid joke.
okay. So you know how our lovely Michiru was like written to have like my boyfriend who lives in Canada, Brad.
Yeah.
So we
And
were
then
like,
Ray's boyfriend Chad, and so we were
so we're
like,
we need to ship him with Chad because Ray and Mina need to be together. This is
I agree. I do ship Ray and Mina.
I ship them. Burning love,
like,
burning love.
yes. So
But
these
yeah,
two,
so our chat will tell you that they want Brad X Chad.
yes. As it should be. Oh my god, yes!
Oh my god, that's so soft. I love it.
Excellent. 10 out of 10.
I'll just ship them.
I love
Burning love. Woo.
burning love.
Mhm.
Indeed. That poster is the Julian's princesses, Mars and Venus.
Nice.
All right, shall we go over comments before we go on?
Yeah.
That way you two can react. Let's see. Random Eric says Minako, at least in the anime, probably has the most emotional baggage. Just from being in love with some guy and then that guy you think you're dead and hooks up with your bestie. Like, yeah, it's kind of obvious she turns into a hot mess in later seasons.
Yeah, like that too. Like the lost love and that is too much for like 12, 13.
That's a lot.
It is.
Hopeful is masking to the max.
Yes. Oh, 1,000. Yeah.
And then just had to bring up again that Jen tried to call Mamoru flawless.
Have you seen what he dresses like?
Have you seen his closet?
Yeah,
gets
see,
this in the
the
dark.
sequelae of trauma, like, y'all, the impact that trauma has on your fashion sense is real. Mamoru is a prime example of this. I'm petitioning the APA to include tragic fashion choices as a criteria for CPTSD in the DSM-6.
As long as Mamoru's pictures in it.
Yeah, just like,
Prime example.
does your client dress like this man? If so.
Yeah, we can change him. And by changing him, we can change his wardrobe.
We can change his wardrobe.
All right, Mama, let's go to Uniqlo. Let's start there.
Yes.
Let's start with the basics.
Yes.
Oh my god, you all are.
The green shirt and the pants is like his best fit. Ooh, 5 stages of grief.
Okay, Solar Lily Cosplay says, I actually think Uranus is a wonderful example of the character that effectively went through the 5 stages of grief of becoming a scout. Not wrong. There was some trauma, some gay awakening. Like, Uranus went through it, and they managed to cram Cousin into it 10 times in one episode.
Oh my god,
yeah. Area was painful.
It hurt my soul.
My lesbian soul died. But yeah, but no, you are so right. Back on the actual topic, Sword Lily. No, you are so right. Like, Uranus is such a complex character, and I love her for that.
Yeah. And I think, okay, so here's my like mini TED talk about the 5 stages of grief because it pisses me off to no end. This is like my eternal beef as a therapist is like when therapy things like breach containment and enter into pop psych spaces, and then like the meaning is like completely twisted. It's the blood is thicker than water. The actual saying is the blood of the covenant is thicker than the waters of the womb. So like the original saying means the opposite of what like people like want it to mean out in the wild. So like 5 stages of grief model was built around people who were dying of terminal illness, not around, you go through the 5 stages of grief when somebody dies, blah, blah. So like, this is a perfect example of how this like actually fits Uranus, because Uranus is the one impacted, therefore her old life dying, new life beginning. Anyway, That's my beef. I think like a lot of the 5 stages of grief like can be applied to like mourners as well, but that's not what it was made for originally. You can go read Kubler-Ross's husband wrote a book after she died, kind of talking about like that side of it. I forget what it's called. Miss Girl went through so much. And I love like a refusal to the call of adventure too, of no, I want my normal life. And I think funnily enough, that almost parallels like Usagi's journey with it too, of no, hell no, don't give me that stick. I don't want this. Like, I want to be normal. And Ruka and Usagi have they're interesting foils for each other in a lot of ways.
Especially in their philosophy of just getting the job done, because you kind of see where that conflicts, especially like in the finale of S, where like do we unalive the baby or do we keep the baby?
Yeah.
Yeah, Sailor Moon does go there.
They're my emotional support war criminals, Your Honor.
All right, next comment. Ninja Master 551 says, I do believe Naoko cited Devilman as an influence in Sailor Moon, so that would explain why the monsters look so scary initially.
Ooh.
That's cool.
I did not know this.
Yeah, and Lily bounces off that saying the monsters in season 1 were way scarier than in later seasons. I'm looking at you, Monster Bake Oven.
Yeah. Scary in a different way.
Now, when you look at that episode where Nephrite kicks the bucket and you look at that tree going into him.
Oh, yeah.
Fun fact, that monster's name is Grape.
What?
If you look, it's actually a bunch of grapes. You're welcome. Thank you. If you're watching this, Chibi Chrissy, mwah, thank you for that fact. Yeah, that happened. That monster's name is Grape, and they're actually a pile of grapes.
Yeah, like some of the monsters can be like from silly to like outright scary. Like even like when you also go into the Rainbow Crystal arc, have the Rainbow Crystal folks go into their Monster of the Week form, like Grandpa Hercules the cat.
Yeah, Rhett Butler.
He's still Hercules to me.
He's still Hercules to me too.
He's Hercules.
He was so good.
So good. And then let's see. Yolandak 2020 says the deeper dive plus just seeing the Senshi as real life girls, seeing them that way hit different and remnants of PGSM.
Yeah.
Totally.
No, that was such a good like enactment of it. And then also says, kind of bothers me that Venus, the actual pop star, doesn't get a song on that album. I know. I'm sorry, Duck.
In the arms of the angels.exe.
Hey, we still got, in the original, we still got Root Venus and a lot of other Venus hits.
True. There are very many good Venus hits out there.
Yes.
And then Lily coming in saying, I honestly think the depth and struggles and successes of the Scouts is what kept the love of the series alive for so long. It all circles back to them feeling like people, making them relatable.
Yes.
Yeah, like they're not one-dimensional kind of caricatures like we were talking about of like kind of female representation in like action-y shows in the 90s of you're either the tomboy or you're like the prettiest princess at the party sort of a thing, right? There's no nuance, there's no you get one of two boxes, right? And that's kind of it. But Sailor Moon is like, no, you can have all of this. Like you have full access to the candy store of gender presentation and identity and personality and all of these things.
I also like that Uranus taught me what gender fluid is and what non-binary was. Like before those words came into our grade of vocabulary.
Yeah.
I remember like reading through the manga, like just for frame reference, I was reading the manga in Japanese in the mid-90s. I was like flipping through the pages. Yeah, I like that Uranus can present both masculine and feminine. You see Haruka like wearing like all these suits, like even in the artwork, and you also see Haruka wear like all these gowns, like her princess outfits. And like I love that she can pull off both masculine. What is this? I want more.
Get you a girl who can do it all. And the same thing with the Starlights too. I love that for them.
Yeah. All right. And then next comment. Ninja Master 551 coming in saying, for as much crap as Chibi Usa gets, I feel like she has the most baggage of any Sailor Moon character, and that's before she gets turned into an evil adult version of herself.
Yeah.
Yeah, but she's so hard to enjoy in the second season. We just rewatched that season, and it's so much worse than I remembered. They don't do her any kindness.
No, they don't. I think also, like, Chibi Usa, like, in the 90s anime is, like, a little bit younger than how she is in, like, the manga, so I think that piece of it too, of having her be, like, further in age gap with Usagi, like, just makes her, like, all the more, like, annoying little sister. But yeah, I mean, I think she's got, her parents are well-meaning, but, like, this is kind of, like, they got important jobs to do, and yes, that is necessary for her continued survival, but she doesn't have the, like, cognitive capacity to understand that, like, mom and dad have to be away so much because they love you and because they want to protect you. So she's just feeling, like, abandoned and neglected, and then she's getting bullied on top of it, and then right?
Yeah, make her much more sympathetic.
Yeah. Yeah, of course, this is what happens, right? And I think for her too, like, coming back from Wicked Lady, like, what a powerful thing in terms of, okay, I did all of this evil and almost destroyed the world, and, oh, hey, I'm not hated, I'm not reviled, I don't have to, hurt this much anymore, people still care about me, of having that healthy model of hurt and repair too, I think is one of the things, like, everybody's kind of been saying too, of Usagi's, like, love for everybody is what holds the series together, but, I think that's, like, probably one of the most powerful messages in the show overall.
Yeah, that love can be, like, the ultimate tool.
Mhm.
Alright, next comment?
Yeah, boy.
Alright, Sorry Lily Cosplay says, "It's like cosplay, finding a common interest goal and uplifting those
Mhm.
around you can lead to friendship that may not have happened otherwise." I
Yeah.
know I wouldn't know Ducky if it wasn't for cosplay.
I know, I wouldn't know either of you if it wasn't for this series and
Yeah,
cosplay.
ditto that. I've met so many of, like, my friends in fandom through cosplay, through conventions, and cosplay was just our icebreaker. "Oh, yeah, you're into that? Cool."
Mhm.
Yes. No, it's like cosplay is like the ultimate, we have something in common. I think
Mhm.
you're cool. I don't know. It's like it's so hard to approach people in everyday life, but at cons when someone's cosplaying the same thing as you, I'm like immediately go up to them.
Yeah.
Mhm.
No, exactly, like, the bar for social interaction is so much lower at cons, and oh, okay, you like the same thing, we probably have, like, similar values too, right? Of, "Oh, hey, you like the show about friendship is magic? Yes?"
Which one? Yeah, which one? Under that category now, but what I like about cosplay is, like, if you're cosplaying or if I'm cosplaying as something that's, for example, I do a lot of Mars cosplays and I cosplay as Idol Mars, and
Mhm.
one can immediately recognize, like, "You're from that episode of Sailor Moon where she's an idol." Yeah, like, I love that outfit.
Mhm.
I love that episode. I love Eno Melody and Oh Starry Night.
Yeah.
Or they're cosplaying from, like, a version of a character, like, from Sailor Moon. It's like, "Yeah, I know you're deeply hardcore into this," and one of my cosplay goals during wish list, it's so simple, but it's that episode in the 90s anime where Usagi is a ninja for some reason.
Yeah,
Yes!
the Ninja of Love.
Ninja outfit.
Do
Yes!
it, do it, do it. No,
No.
trust me. I did a Monster of the Week group. That's how niche I got.
No, there's some really, cool, like, monsters of the week. Like, I would if I were to do a monster week, I probably would do Vina from, like, the 7 Rainbow Crystals.
Listen, if you
Yes.
ever want to join us, it's gonna I want to bring that group back. So
Sure.
Hell yeah.
all
Let's
right. And
go.
then let's see. Oh, we're getting more comments. So let me just make sure I got them all. And then Ura says, I don't know if child me ever clocked cousins being lesbians before reading online that they were supposed to be lesbians. I don't know if it would. I don't know if I knew what a lesbian was. Big same. I was very sheltered as a child. Big same. So
Mhm.
and then in 5th grade, I was given unfiltered internet access by my mother as opposed to the puberty talk. Ura.
Oh my god. Fair though, right? Because I
Fair,
think,
very
like,
fair.
adolescence is a really scary time, right? And I think so much of Sailor Moon is like, yeah, we're dealing with all of these conflicts in these, like, very fantastical ways, but yeah, like, dealing with puberty feels like fighting monsters, right? Like, that.
And that's one of the things I liked about Sailor Moon, like, they still leaned into girlhood, they still leaned into adolescence.
Mhm.
as so much as they were saving the world too. And that's what just kind of made it appeal to me, like as a 10-year-old, just watching this, like, oh yeah, they're talking about crushes, they're talking about comics, they're talking about like, yeah, I'm sick today, or like,
Yeah.
yeah, just things like normal teenagers would talk about. And I just thought it was just super relatable. And just again, seeing that dynamic of like 5 different girls just kind of like react to like different like this and that with adolescence. I just thought, I was like, yeah, this is kind of cool. I mean, like as petty as it sounds, like some of my favorite episodes were like Usagi and Mako. It was part of the Rainbow Crystal arc, and they were like going after Andrew.
Yes.
Canadian
Yes.
friend Andrew.
Oh,
Green flag Andrew. I love Andrew.
I love Andrew.
boy. I love him so much. He is so good. I would
I hate
one
that he just
man.
like fades off like in later seasons. Like, where's
I
Andrew?
know. Where's our boy? I know that makes me so sad with like him and like Naru and Melvin, and there you go, Melvin.
Well, I love it all the time too. I still love that
Yes.
episode.
But yeah, no, like I think also all of the girls like not getting along always, and okay, we don't all have to think alike, dress alike, like the same things, and we can all still be friends and we can still all work together, I think is like another really powerful message for adolescents, because so much of media aimed at young people and girls is like you have to be in this very narrow box of what is femininity, what is, the cool thing, right? Like if you don't have this bag, these clothes, this hairstyle, this makeup, then you are not cool and you cannot be like, you will be like socially ostracized. But Sailor Moon is just, nah, heck that, like do what you want. We're still pals. And not only is it like, I don't care what you do, but I love what you do. I love you being authentically you. And like, we stand.
Yes.
It almost is like Sailor Moon gives you the acceptance that sometimes you're missing in your real life growing up.
Bingo.
Yeah, I agree on that point because I watched Sailor Moon in middle school, and in middle school I didn't really have a lot of friends. So what kept me motivated to, okay, I'm gonna go to school because after school I'm gonna check my VCR because just recorded the latest episode of Sailor Moon, and just watching like Sailor Moon just kind of gave me like the friends that I didn't have, because I saw like, yeah, these are friends, these are my friends. Ami, Ray, Mako, Minako, Cats. And I guess Chibi Usa, maybe. Chibi Usa, I guess.
It's so funny because it is our year of Chibi Usa because we're doing every scout.
Oh, wow.
That's why it's pink and red.
Yeah.
It's her year.
My little goblin.
Oh my god. And then sort of like cosplay coming in saying, I'll do a con panel that's Mooney's tragic fashion and it's all Mamo.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's the
The
secret.
outfit, his yellow pullover with the letter Earth with Earth.
Oh my god, with Earth. Yes.
Because he felt left out.
Yeah. I need to like visually identify myself as the representation of Sailor Earth.
And then just some last few comments before we move on to our next subject. Random Eric says, I love that Haruka's wedding dress is in the image is probably the most modest. I feel like Haruka doesn't get enough credit for like how diverse her fashion sense
her
is.
ranges.
Yeah,
Oh,
like
girl,
so good.
give us Princess Di.
Yeah, and then and then Random Eric also says we need Eri and Duckie to cosplay Idol, Ray, and Minako.
When?
Let's make that happen.
I have the disgusting lime green somewhere.
I
in
have
my stash.
I have the cosplay like in my storage bins. I'll just go over there.
I can make this happen.
Oh my god.
I think we can like yap a little bit about like specific like yay good representation of what this common mental health problem looks like in Sailor Moon, and then we can hop back into some relationship stuff for our next bit, and then kind of talk about like how do we use Sailor Moon in therapy, and like how do kind of the themes of Sailor Moon like map onto some of the modalities that we use. So yeah, so first and foremost, I think like Sailor Moon does a really good job of illustrating how like depression looks. If you look at kind of Usagi's like crash out in the manga and a little bit less so in the 90s anime for like Mamo, like identities have been revealed, Mamo has been kidnapped, but they have not yet made it to point D to like go beat Barrel's ass. That like sequence of events where she's just like kind of sleeping all day, her hair is like magically growing longer. Like, I wish that was a side effect of depression. Alas, it is not. But that kind of like despondent, like she's not herself, right? This is not the Usagi that we know and love. And like, I also really loved like, hi, the homies are here. You are eating snacks. We are brushing your hair. Like, girl, we are not like leaving you to the pits of despair. Right, because like depression just makes you want to not do all of the things that will help to get rid of the depression, which is like the really annoying part of treating that, right? Of, hi, I feel sad and lonely. In order to not feel sad and lonely, I must be around people. I don't want to people. I shall not people, and I will feel more sad and lonely, and we just have a lovely little Ouroboros happening. So like the Senshi kind of coming in and being like, you can be sad, but you're eating a snack about it. I really appreciate. And kind of the same thing in Stars too, right? Like Usagi is like not quite her whole self that season because Mamo's not responding to her letters and she's, what is happening? What is going on? Like when she's kind of in, she's like faking it in the moment with her friends, but like in those moments when she's alone and like Haruka and Michiru kind of catch her writing her letters to Mamo and they're like, I see you. So
Saying you can be sad, but you're eating a snack about it is something I need framed.
yeah, you can cry about it and then you can boss up about it. Both is good.
Not so much on the topic of depression, but I also want to discover bullying and isolation with Naru.
Yes. Oh, baby girl.
Yeah,
Yes.
'cause I think that's when I discovered Sailor Saturn as I was just reading through episode summaries of upcoming episodes because we didn't get those in the US just yet in the mid-90s. Oh, I like her. She likes history. Wait, she is also a product of bullying. People like her peers are calling her weird because of her healing powers. And kind of like just taking all that sadness and whenever you see her, she's always dressed up in black. She's usually like in the company of her lamp collection.
Her lamps.
The lamp collection. And then you see her like interact with Chibi Moon, with Chibi Usa and Usagi and with their plague dates for lack of a better word. Yeah, I mean, her mood just lightens up a lot more. And of course, Chibi Usa isn't aware that this is what's going on in Hotaru's life. But when you kind of go into that arc, you definitely see a difference of like what her past life was meeting Chibi Usa, and you just see like this friendship just grow right there.
Yeah. Like kind of this like positive influence of like even having just like a single friend, a single person that like gets you and cares about you, right? That makes such a big difference for overall mental health and well-being. And like Hotaru still loves her lamps and she still loves her black, but there's a levity to her. Yes. And I think that that's like so important too, right? Of, you know, social ostracization has like such a negative impact on teens and like seeing that kind of play out in these various ways across like the different iterations of Sailor Moon. I think like even the R movie kind of like just keeps hitting you with this, right? Of like Ami and Rei and Mako all being like bullied before meeting Usagi, right? Because everybody thinks that Ami is like a stuck-up cold bitch because she like doesn't hang out with anybody, but it's really that she's just super shy. And like same kind of a deal with Rei where like I'm scared to get close to people because I've got a big mushy tender heart under this fiery exterior. And same thing with Mako, right? Like people think that she's in a gang and they think that she's so hardcore and blah, blah, blah. And it's like, this is a teddy bear. What are you talking? Right.
She'll make you okay.
Yeah, exactly. Like she will make you a teddy bear, you know, that kind of a thing of, and then, oh, hey, one person that sees me for me and what a difference that makes. I think I can't remember. I'm pretty sure it's our movie, but it's like, you're the glue that keeps us together. Somebody says it in our to Usagi, you can't die here. This is not allowed. But that like power of love and friendship and like unconditional acceptance of like, yeah, you go girl, you have your lamps.
Thank you, Ura.
Yes. Ura always comes in clutch with the very
Harry, this is Ura. They make sure that we always keep our Sailor Moon facts straight because keeping anything straight on the show is a challenge.
Like, I know that this exists somewhere. Where? Ura's like, I have the exact page and the exact line.
Yes, and we love Ura for that.
Nice.
But yeah, no, baby Hodar. And then she's just like her like perfect little weird self when she's being raised by like the Outer's polycule. It's lovely.
I love the Outer's polycule because anytime I describe the Outer's polycule to like my friends, you have that part in the beginning of the Eternals movie, the second part, where they're like, "Where were you when you saw the eclipse? I was Formula One racing in Monaco. I was playing violin in Vienna, and I was doing science in lingerie."
Yes.
I love them.
I love the
I love
polycule.
Your Honor.
Yes. Best parents ever, right? Like, see what a difference it makes having quasi well-adjusted parents and mad scientist dad and evil stepmom who bullies you for liking a sports ball. Or wait, no, he was a track star. Never mind. Yeah, there was no ball. There was just sports.
Yeah, and I think that's another thing that you mentioned that I really like about Sailor Moon is they actually tell each other how much they value each other. Which is something I feel like is not really a norm in society, but I wish was more normal.
Yeah, energetically. I love my homies.
It's how much they tell each other, and it's those like in our movie whenever they're all thinking back to like how Usagi has impacted their lives, and it's such a cute scene, and like I don't know, those are the moments that stick with me. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, and I think there's some bit in like towards the end of season 1 where Usagi is like kind of questioning the girl's like friendship with her in that like depression era, like in her little depression flop era. And they're like, no, dude, like, we love you for you, not because you're the moon princess. Yeah, we kind of have to save the world because we like living, but like, even if it weren't for that, like, we would still be your friend. And I think that that's like, again, right, it's not the magical piece of this that brings them together. It is like the magic, the ordinary everyday magic that you too, tiny child, can have of friendship that makes this so powerful. But yeah, and then Usagi and Minako for ADHD rep, thank you, no notes.
Especially
like
when
I
they're
feel
together.
like I'm not gonna like armchair diagnose the entire squad, but like those two got bees in the brain and you cannot convince me otherwise. And I think like the two of them also show you kind of like the different ways that can manifest, right? Of like Minako has her shit like kind of together. He like absolutely does not, like our classic little inattentive version of that, because I think like a lot of the time people think of it as like hyperactive boys running around the classroom disease and not like I'm a space cadet and I'm late to everything and I oversleep and forget to eat and can't pay attention unless it's manga or video games. And like Mina like kind of has her stuff together but like very fragile in that, right? Like the second there's an additional responsibility, she kind of crumbles. But that's just my personal like pet thing for them. But yeah, we would be here for several days.
Yeah, real quick, Sword Lily said something that I think is really beautiful. And I love that you get both perspectives of when Moon needs strength, she thinks of her memories of them showing their love, and you get that from the other girls when they're thinking of when they were accepted.
Yes.
I'd say acceptance is a huge theme of the show.
Totally.
Yes.
And it's not just like acceptance of like yourself, it's like acceptance of others and differences.
Yeah, and like life circumstances too, which is the perfect segue into how this relates to my favorite modality, acceptance and commitment therapy, which we can talk about after the break.
You know who would have loved Sailor Moon? Mr. Rogers.
Yeah.
I agree.
Fred would have loved this show.
He's always who I think of as like the high tier.
Yeah,
like he would have loved Usagi and her Usaginess.
Yes, absolutely.
Lily also says, gotta make con ribbons with Duckie quotes on them.
I love cum. I love cum.
That would
You
be
can
so
sad,
funny.
but you're having a snack about it. Which, yeah. I'm like, did you eat? Did you hydrate? When was the last time you slept? Fix that shit before you start yapping to me about how sad you are.
No, and let's see, I'm trying to think of anything else that really stood out to me about what we talked about. I think Ray was the most relatable for me because I was an only child.
Mm.
And she has that kind of, I'm not going to trust you until I know I can trust you kind of vibe. And I was so like that as a little one.
Yeah.
Oh, Lily Cosplay coming in with a question for Ari. Ari, who is the scout you most relate to? I know you say you cosplay Mars a lot.
Okay, good question. Like when I was growing up, my first favorite character ended up just being Mars and Venus. My love for Venus came from the fact like, oh, I think she's cute. Like, and then I was just crushing on Venus. Like, wait, what are these bi vibes? Anyway, and then like for a while, I really like Saturn, and then there was a time period when I was cosplaying as Usagi because people needed like a last minute Usagi cosplay group, so I ended up cosplaying as Super Sailor Moon to Katsucon. And when I started cosplaying as Usagi, I started developing a bigger appreciation for the character. So there was this era where I was cosplaying as Usagi in her school uniform, Serenity, classic Usagi, and then it just circled back to Mars being my favorite Sailor Senshi. I specifically the 90s version of Sailor Mars, and I am a huge Mars 90s apologist. Because there's a lot of people like, oh, she's so mean. But when you get into context, like she didn't really grow up with a lot of her peers. She went to all girls private Catholic school, and as a product of Catholic school, that is a number on your social skills. And you're growing up with a perverted grandpa, and you're kind of have to taking care of this tiny man child around. So I'm just like, yeah, she's been through a lot, and she doesn't take crap from anyone, and I totally get that. And when you don't have that kind of proper socialization, because you don't really see, she doesn't really have, and you don't really see her friends like.
She's friends with birds.
Yeah, she has Phobos and Deimos.
Yeah,
and I'm also biased too because my dad at the time of when I was watching Sailor Moon, he was working for NASA, and he's one of the head engineers of the Mars rover.
Oh my god, no way!
Really? That's where also my Mars bias comes from. So when it comes to Mars, I have regular, super, eternal, princess. I even wore the princess outfit, princess version to my high school homecoming.
Oh,
I love that!
And that's a quick story behind that. There was a guy that I liked, found out he had a fling with some random girl over the summer, and I wanted to go out with him to homecoming. And I'm like, I don't really feel like going to homecoming. He's gonna be there. I don't know. Like, Mom's like, no, you're wearing your Sailor Mars dress, and this is gonna be your revenge dress.
Yes!
Mom, revenge dress. Just Princess Diana, Google it. Like, okay.
Yes! Oh my god.
I love that so
much. Shit. We stand.
And I ended up the homecoming queen's like, oh yeah, this is a crown. This belongs to you. She actually gave me the homecoming queen crown. I have photos of this.
Yes.
Oh my god, that's awesome.
Oh my god.
Everybody in the comments is losing their minds. So
yeah.
Everyone needs a revenge dress.
Yes.
Yeah, so true.
Yes.
And then let's see. Jen, who is the most mentally stable Sailor Moon character and why is it Mom?
He is not, though.
I don't think I'm not licensed. I don't have any knowledge here, so I'll let you too.
Mr. Mans has PTSD. Mr. Mans listens to a weird ghostly voice. Like, this man is just basing life decisions off of shit he sees and hears in dreams. Like, that is not... I don't... I think the most mentally stable character in Sailor Moon out of, like, the magical beings is probably the cats. I think it's the cats. I think it is specifically Artemis, because he's just, okay, all right, Mina, this is fine. We're gonna get through this.
Emotional support cat. I still remember that episode of S where he has, like, the flowers at the end. Yeah, girl, you may have been friend zoned, but here are some flowers because I love you.
Yeah.
I love my human.
Yeah, who's the most mentally stable versus who's the most functional? Yes, Mamo, very functional human. Pluto, very functional human. but like stable mentally, no. Otherwise, it's a cuckoo mama. She's doing great. She is out here. She is living her best life. And I think kind of going back to our like conversation about like parents and the influence that they have on like the senshi and the kids and so on and so forth, right? Yes, Usagi is like Queen Serenity's Bambino, but she is raised by Ikuko Mama in this century, right? So had it not been like had Usagi ended up with Kaoli Knight as a mama, right? Like this would be a very different show. So like Ikuko Mama being like as chill and stable as she is, nice.
Yeah, the way I see it is Queen Serenity is Usagi's mother, but Ikoko is her mommy.
Yes, exactly.
I love it. So we are going to definitely get into comments a little bit later, but we're going to first get into, I think, a crowd. It's a choice, but we're going to get into a very famous scene of Sailor Moon. We're going to watch it just to start us off, and then we're going to talk about it, and we're going to hear our therapist perspective. So let's get into it. And it's from Sailor Mars Says. So thank you, Sailor Mars Says.
Oh, fitting.
Don't think we'll be having a chocolate parfait.
Oh, please.
Sorry I lied to you again, but this time I didn't mean to. Forgive me. Don't forget me. I just want you to know you're in my heart.
Nephrite, no, don't go. We'll get a doctor, and everything will be all right. Nephrite, hang on. I don't want you to go. Nephrite, no, don't leave me.
That scene.
My heart.
Yeah.
That acting is just so good.
Yeah, shout out to Mary Long.
Yes.
Right? She ate and left no crumbs.
Let's get into Nephrite and Molly's relationship.
There's a lot to unpack here.
Yeah, there's so much.
Okay, so my working knowledge is from the Deke dub, but it's still the same thing in the original text.
Mhm.
Just to recap, Molly has a crush on Maxfield Stanton, Nephrite's human disguise, and then there's this episode where it starts out like she and Usagi are in the pool, and
Mhm.
then Molly is daydreaming, and then Molly reveals, I have a crush on Maxfield Stanton, and Usagi is just totally flipping out, and no, like he's way too old and blah blah blah, like which is kind of funny because Usagi ends up with Mamoru, and like hypocrisy much.
Yeah.
And you have this story arc of Usagi just trying to find the strength to like intervene and like, hey, this guy is bad news, and you have this whole episode where she's like consulting Luna, like, and even consulting Mamoru and Andrew, like this guy's bad news. I just want to I just want to just tell her that I just want to tell her, but Usagi doesn't actually tell her until she actually transforms into Sailor Moon. Of course, they don't know she doesn't know Usagi's identity as Sailor Moon, but of course, Molly doesn't listen, and then we get to the next episode where Nephrite is being targeted by the Dark Kingdom. And then you get that scene right there. And then a lot of the times when you're watching, even like as an adult, just going back in, because like, yeah, as a kid just watching it, like at 10 years old, like, yeah, maybe he really likes her. Maybe like her homegirl is being manipulated here. And even then, there's some parts sometimes when I just look at, did he really, was his feelings truly invested in there? And sometimes I just watch that like last scene, okay, I felt like there was feelings in there and he was just trying to struggle with like his dark side. But also you have that weird funky age gap thing going on there, because that also seems to be a trend of the 90s anime of like questionable age gap type things because
Mm,
of course we can talk till the cows come home when it comes to Usagi and Mamoru. And
right.
then another one that people don't really talk about, but I think it should be talked about more, is the way how Fisheye targeted their victims.
Mm,
Because if you look at Fisheye's victims, they were specifically young boys,
mhm.
which was very different from like a lot of the other. Because you know, like how Mehmet would like target, like, oh yeah, he's an idol.
Mm,
I'll target this idol because he's pretty. And
yeah.
then you look at Fisheye's victims, and they fit the profile of like younger boys, which is why I always kind of question, like, is Fisheye actual positive representation LGBTQ? But
Mm,
I felt like Fisheye was also perpetuating the stereotype that queer folks target
young people.
younger
Yeah.
people. So I just kind of feel like that topic is not really talked about that much, because don't get me wrong, there are things I love about Sailor Moon, but as a fan, it's totally okay to be critical when you're like questioning. I'm like,
Mhm.
okay, what is this? What is this thing here? Like, yeah, that's just your old 2 cents.
Yeah, 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 no, and I think I 100% agree, like, the Super S is probably, like, my least favorite season of Sailor Moon writ large, and also just in general because of the Amazon trio, like, I love our, like, little idiots very, very much, but also, like, that arc is, like, so problematic in so many different ways, and I, like, don't love it for that reason, and, like, also Pegasus being, like, the most annoying adolescent little lad of, like, "Ooh, I'm not gonna tell you my secret identity. Oh, ooh, I'm not sure if I can trust you, small, pure young lady." Like, shut up, dude. Just give the location. But yeah, no, 100%. I think the age gap between, like, Molly and Nephrite is like, what does this older man want with a 14-year-old, right? As, like, a college something, like, what the hell do you want with a freshman in high school, right? Like, what? No. Ew. And I think there's, like, some suspension of disbelief of, "Ooh, older boyfriend, this is so cool," right? That's a thing for, like, adolescent girls. "Ooh, I'm dating, like, a senior, and I'm just a
Like,
sophomore.
that's so
I'm just an
cool.
underclassman. I'm so cool. I'm so fancy. I'm so adult." But we see it play out in this, like, really, really negative light originally, right? Of he's using Molly, he's using her to target Sailor Moon, to target Usagi specifically, and maybe in the end, the power of Molly's love, like, convinces him to, like, actually care about her and want better for humanity, but that is not how we started, right?
No.
And, like, "I can fix him!" Like, girl, no. Just run. Run.
What I do like about this arc is we do get 2 episodes later, because
Mhm.
after he kicks bucket,
Yeah.
we get Jupiter's introduction. After that, we do have a Molly Grief episode, which I
Yes,
actually
yes,
did
yes, yes.
appreciate because that gave, like, characters time to process, and
Mhm.
she meets up with priest guy, who's one of the great
Yes.
boxing priest.
Yes. Oh
And
my god.
yeah, and she just kind of, and I do appreciate just having an episode where she's allowed to process her feelings because remember, as a kid watching this in the 90s, I was like,
Mhm.
"Wait, did he really die? Is he coming back?"
Mm.
Because at the time in comics, it was very trendy to bring, like, dead characters back to
Mhm.
life, and I thought that was gonna be the case here, but, oh, anime works a little bit differently here.
Yeah, he is
Mhm,
dead, dead. Like, even in the manga, like, the
mhm.
Shitano are just, like, pocket rocks. But, yeah, it's, like, very like, also, I think, like, the kind of the impact that this has on Molly's sense of self and, like, her, like, identity and all of these things of, like, "Oh, I, like, was duped, and also, like, this horrible thing has happened." And you kind of see her, like, grieving and going into this kind of depressive episode, and Usagi showing, like, genuine care for her friend who has been in this, like, really, like, kinda, like, ucky, like, relationship scenario, right? Like, how do I support my friend that's, like, making dumb adolescent life choices as they so often do, right? Like, how do I be here for her through this? And she's, like, going to everybody and their mom to be like, "Molly's not herself. What do I do?" And I think especially in, like, abusive relationships, right? That's like, the social isolation is what keeps people stuck, and this aspect of it in the 90s anime of, oh, how do I help this friend? How do I support her? How do I be there for her and let her make her own choices? Because part of the reason why Molly kind of digs her heels in with Nephrite is because Usagi is Sailor Moon, very thinly veiled, is like, that guy's bad news, you better leave. And she's like, ew, no, I love him. So kind of like supporting that autonomy of your friends to make bad choices, but hey, I'm still gonna be here for you and we can go get chocolate parfaits. But yeah, I mean, like, even with Usagi and Momo, right, of like a senior in high school with a freshman in high school, like, if we're going by manga standards and not he's a freshman in college.
Also in the anime, he also dates Ray.
Oh, I forgot about
The
that
reason why I
part.
know this is because I play Ray in a cosplay comedy group, and we have
Oh.
Mass who plays up all his toxic traits.
Mm-hmm.
And anytime he goes up on stage, I just tell him, yeah, like, I get older, your lovers stay the same age.
Savage.
Yeah.
Love it.
Like, slice. But yeah, like, is still kind of like, yeah, okay, miracle romance, blah de blah. But yeah, it's just, ooh, not my fave. And I think if this age gap were like, oh, we're all in college, like, whatever. For please. I'm sorry. I'm dead.
Again, the stuff
Actually,
that
Darian
gets
DiCaprio might actually does sound like a cool name. Darian.
Yes.
it's better than Darian Shields.
Yeah.
Because remember, that's his last name.
That is true. Which I kind of like, because it's like, oh, okay, you like paid attention, you saw like the original intent for this name and just made the anglified version of it. But yeah, it's not my favorite. Because like I think like developmentally, like there's so much that happens in that short window of time between 14 and 18, and like even 18 to 20 is like wildly different. And I think like in the 90s we didn't have the same, like, this was like weird even for then, but like at the time this was not regarded as like a weird ucky gross thing as it would be today.
Romeo and Juliet laws were still being implemented and discussed, like, as Sailor Moon was like airing both in the US and in Japan, because we really didn't have it's that I know each state is different, but it's like the difference between 14 and 16 versus 14 and 18.
Yeah, right. So yeah, there's that kind of like the cultural norms have like definitely shifted in this regard since the 90s. And yeah, like I think also reading this as like kind of, okay, this is like your little adolescent fantasy, like, yeah, of course, like your little teeny bopper readers want like an older boyfriend because like that's so cool. So kind of like, okay, like Naoko probably was not thinking, yes, 30 years from now, how is this going to read?
And I didn't think it was even necessary to like just even aging him up in the original 90s anime, because what value does that add?
Right, yeah, it's like, why did we have to do that? This is so weird.
Because even they left that reference in the Deekta, because Mamoru does allude to, yeah, I used to model to pay off my college tuition. And like, wait, how old are you, homeboy?
Yeah,
Right.
like,
Can
sir,
I see your
yeah.
do we want to go to comments, or do you anything else you want to add?
Yeah, we can go to comments.
Yeah.
All right. So this is just a couple we're back from before, but I wanted to get us on our break. First said, I never grew up with Mr. Rogers. I did grow up with Bob Ross, though, and I think he would have liked Usagi too. Actually, he would have been a really good friend for Chibi Usa. Yes, he would have.
There's an
Yeah.
episode where I think it's a Super S where Chibiusa is just painting and she kind of has like that French moustache.
Yes! And her art teacher is so mean to her about it. But yeah, like I think, yeah, like with Mr. Rogers, Bob Ross, and like Steve Irwin, like our holy trinity of like 90s like educational adjacent television. Like
Have
the
you
thing
also
that
read LeVar Burton in there for reading?
Yes.
Like they all have this kind of like unconditional positive regard, which is like Like, this is how I remember, like, Rogerian, like, psychotherapy is, I think, Mr. Rogers and, like, unconditional positive regard. So, like, that sort of a thing is, like, very much reflected in Usagi's, like, unconditional love for all of her friends. But,
Yeah.
yeah.
And then, sorry, didn't mean to cut you off.
No, you're good.
Okay, and then Lily said Ray had a lot of responsibilities growing up, had to grow up fast. I think
Mhm.
Usagi lets Ray act her age.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
And something so we'd done an entire episode just on Mars, and we did like a full character study with my friend Kiara. And Kiara has a very like it kind of people are in one of two camps, either they agree or they don't agree. And they said that they believe that Ray loves Usagi the most.
Oh yeah, 100%.
Yeah, some people are like, no, she's so mean to her. It's like, no, you don't get it.
She wants what's best for her. And she's not gonna let Usagi get away with.
I mean, see how she like addresses her grandpa. Like she loves her grandpa, but also wants, I want to just hold you accountable too. Like you're kind of being funky right now, grandpa. And like also just kind of, I mean, I'm not a huge fan of tough love, but I think it's the only way she's ever known how to express love.
That's a good point. I never thought about it like that.
Because also, if you also bring in Chad into the equation, she's also tough on Chad too.
Oh, she's so tough on Chad. I love them. I ship them in a little bit. Like part of my heart ships Chad and Ray.
Yeah, what I like about the deep dub is giving him like a washed up rock star.
Yeah.
Back
surfer dude.
It's canon in my heart.
It's canon in my heart too. Especially when he's like, I'm gonna go make a blues band. I'm like, I love you, Chad.
Oh my God.
You follow your
dreams. I love his deep voice.
Yes. Oh, it was so good. And then
Keanu Reeves kind of vibe.
But I love that for Ray. Like, she deserves it. All right. Ura says, I would make an argument for Pluto if we're not including cats about who's the most
stable.
Yeah. And Pluto definitely is up there.
Yeah. Again, like, I think most functional. Like, there's stuff in there.
Lily also comes in saying, I just thought of another question. If you could have one Senshi as a therapy patient, who would you choose? And you don't have to answer if you don't want to. It's just for fun.
I know.
Any version of Hotaru.
Any version of Hotaru.
Yeah, because, like, I feel like I absolutely love working with adolescents, but, like, I hate working with parents because it's, I don't know how to explain to you in nice enough words that you are the grown-up and you need to be the most regulated one, and you expecting your child with, like, a barely unfolded prefrontal cortex to, like, do better at that than you is kind of, like, the reason why they're crashing out all the time. But, like, Hotaru, parented by, like, the Outers throuple, like, dream client. Like, yippee, I get to help you process trauma. We can talk about your lamps and your, like, sports guy and
oh yeah, her sports idol. I forgot about her sports idol.
And then, like, your moms are all, like, chill and normal and will, like, take recommendations. And
what's it like to go from evil stepmom to, like, happy throuple times?
Yeah. Like, delightful. Yeah, agree. Hard agree.
And then Lily also coming in saying, this is a big issue I have with the anime in general, where characters are stated to be middle high school, but then act like college students adult. SM does a great job in making the characters act their age, which makes the age gaps even more apparent and questionable.
Yes.
Yeah.
Because, like, I think, like, the episode that we just watched in S not too long ago where, like, Usagi's, like, the girls are over at Momo's because, like, it's hot and he has air conditioning in his apartment because he's so bougie and rich from his, like, dead parents' insurance money, I guess.
Gotta get those residuals.
Yeah. The modeling contracts. And they get invited to a party and it's, like, a fancy party. And the girls are, like, they're there, but they're very clearly, like, a bit young for the crowd of the party. And it's just kind of like, ooh. And I think also, right, like, this is like this is a fantasy series for like young girls to be like kind of projecting on, right? Of like, what do you want as an adolescent more than anything is to grow up and be an adult already. So having them kind of like behave in these more mature ways, right? Of, ooh, I want to be just like them, that kind of a thing. It can be like, I guess we can view it in that vein if we want to be like super charitable about it.
And I think that's one of the reasons why I like shoujo anime in general growing up, is because I just felt like a lot of shoujo characters acted their age. They reacted to like a lot of issues that like would trigger the insecurities. Like I know there's a lot of things about fat shaming in Sailor Moon that didn't age well, but
Oh lordy.
but yeah, like they would just have like these normal reactions to all the things going around them, which is why why shoujo really resonated with me back then. Like I know this it's another anime, but Miyaka going into ancient China and the way how she reacts. Yeah, I'd be like, what the hell's going on too?
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. Yes.
No, Sailor Moon, unfortunately, the more we watch, the more fat shaming we're picking up on that I never picked up on as a kid. And I'm like, I remember the episode where Luna was being a real SOB about Usagi's weight and drawing a fat Sailor Moon and showing it to her. And I'm like, that did numbers on my psyche as a child. But for such a good show, it has some problematic themes. And that is one of them.
And I think that's, you know, reflection of the times too. Like I know the America's Next Top Model docuseries just came out on Netflix and I was like just blasted back to the early 2000s. Oh God, we were like that. Jeepers. You know, and I think that was like very much, you know, and still is to a large degree. I think that is like still definitely a problem, but it was like it's bad now, but like in the 90s and early 2000s, dear God, like looking back at like tabloids of like Britney Spears and like J-Lo and Kelly Clarkson, and they're like, oh my God, she's so fat, and it's like she's literally like a size 6, and it's like, hello. And yes, product of its times, but dear God, like, body image, not the one.
No. All right. Yolandic 2020 says Mamoru was in high school in the manga. They should not have aged him up. He could still have gone to study in America. Agreed.
Yep.
Yep.
Yeah, because like Ami was gonna go study in Germany as like a middle schooler, like.
Right? There was no reason. What was the reason?
Yes.
Yeah, and then they also say Naoko didn't write any of those age differences.
Yeah, what the heck, Toei? What the heck?
Yeah.
Exactly.
Please explain.
Yep. All right. And then last one is Ninja Master 551 says, not sure what decision the 90s anime made was weirder, aging Mamoru up or certain scenes with Chibi Usa. I guess you gotta be the judge.
Kimmy's daddy issues in R was like, okay. Don't get me wrong, there are parts of R that I love, but it's the hardest one I have when it comes to rewatching.
Yeah. No, same. I'm just like, oh, yuck, yuck, yuck.
Yeah, I was in that too. Ugh.
And it's like you got to get through Sailor Moon R to get to Sailor Moon S, and I'm like, please, I'm just telling you, just get through the season.
Yeah, can we just get to the good part?
But there are parts of it which are fantastic, but then there's also parts where I'm just like, I don't want to be seeing any of this.
Yeah, no. And I think like a lot of 90s anime was like playing around with kind of Psych 101 and like, ooh, let's do Freud about it, right? Like, see Neon Genesis Evangelion.
Jeez.
Hi, I got handed one whole psychology textbook. I'm gonna go off about it with giant robots. Like, you want to talk about like mommy issues, the anime? There you go.
The whole last 2 episodes is a therapy session.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Oh yeah, we forgot to bring up Diamond.
Oh.
I mean, not that he's worth anything.
Diamond is not forever.
No. And thank God for that.
Well, thank God he very swiftly.
Too.
I hate this man so much, but like he is
people like him.
Like I think we love a bad boy, but like also I think he is like really good representation of like, hi, here is what a bad and toxic man looks like. Avoid. Oh, you're so special, baby. You like
Let me gift you this dress. Let me buy you expensive
right.
things.
Yeah.
Get you too much. Get you to like me.
Yeah, like love bombing are us, and boy, you don't even know her. She doesn't even know you exist.
I get that the character trope works in dark romance if
Right.
that's your thing, but I just like why is he? I know I just get the ick with Diamond.
Yeah.
No, that's just the best way I can put it. Like hashtag me too, because even when it, like they brought it out in the musicals, when they
Mhm.
brought it out in all iterations of the anime, it's like okay, here we go again.
Mm. Yeah, no, he's like very much like, hey, here's the like all of the classic like abuser tropes and like red flag, red flag, red flag. And I think had the thing with Diamond that I don't love is like, oh yeah, we're just jumping straight to kidnapping, where in real life, right? Like this is like your next door neighbor that you had kind of a crush on since forever, like whatever. Like this is somebody that you've known that is like kind of gradually increasing the temperature and like gradually pushing your boundaries versus like, hi, I've kidnapped you and undressed you and put you in new clothes and will you be my wife? We can rule the universe together, right? Like he's laying it on too thick and he's like too familiar too quickly. And that's why he like reads so ucky. But I think there is like kind of in parallel to Molly and Nephrite, right? Of, oh, I'm special. Oh, this man thinks I'm important. He's paying attention to me, all of these things. Usagi's not vulnerable to that because she gets her value from not men, right? Like she has a sense of self and identity and purpose outside of her value as like a romantic partner to someone. So she's immediately, go away. But like somebody like Molly, where she's like the more vulnerable adolescent, like much more easily groomed. Same thing with Chibi Usa and Wise Man, like not in the like romantic context, but oh, let me manipulate you and get you to do what I want, sort of a vein. So like Diamond's a little too on the nose, but yeah, he's a very effective villain because
Yes.
he is bad in all of the ways and loathing.
Emerald deserved the redemption. Diamond did
Yes.
not.
Yes! 100%. Let her join the Ayakashi sisters, please.
Yes, Sapphire, Emerald, they deserve their redemption.
Yes.
Yeah, that Sapphire episode, that was devastating.
Yes. That was like our most powerful R episode from the panel, I think. But yeah, no, like he deserves a redemption. And that's the other thing too, right? Of like Diamond getting his redemption of like, what does this say about men of his ilk, right? Of, okay, cool. You've like spent the entire season trying to sexually assault this girl that like does not know you exist because you think her future self is hot. And at the last second you take a hit for her and now you like are a good guy and deserving of uwu love and kindness, like
Nope.
No.
Nope.
No.
Don't love that message. Don't love that.
Lily makes a good point, but I love Usagi's dress in that scene with Diamond,
Yes.
which feels a little weird, but Noku knew what fashion was fire. Like,
okay, we will give him a singular point for fashion.
And then it's just like subtracted this piece of personality.
Yeah. Back to negative 10,000 points.
Yes. And then some other fun comments. Ninja Master 551 says Ano deliberately casted Kotono Mitsuishi as Misato because he envisioned her as Usage for
Usagi.
Usagi. Thank you. I was like, Da-da-da. Envision her as Usagi a few years down the line, not to mention Megumi Ogata playing both Haruka and Shinji. I didn't know that.
Yeah, we finished Ava recently and that broke my brain. I was like, wait, pause the credits. Excuse me, what? No.
Right?
I need
Maybe
brain bleach.
Hishimara, the scientist girl in the the S movie, is Rei Ayanami.
Really?
Yeah, scientist girl in the
Oh
S movie.
my god!
Okay.
Whack.
Go figure. It's a small world after all. All right. And then this everybody agreeing Diamond is a huge ick.
Mm-hmm.
I hated Diamond from the beginning and nothing has changed.
Big Moon.
And then Yolanda 2020 also says Usagi doesn't have daddy issues.
This is true.
True.
It's Kenji, right? That's her dad.
Kenji Papa, yeah.
Yeah, like our mans would never. Positive Papa role model. Thank you. Appropriate man. Yeah, I hate Diamond so much.
Diamond is the worst. And that's a hard title to come by in Sailor Moon.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Diamond is overrated. Sorry, people. Like, I don't like this pairing. I don't like this guy. Anytime I see people like, okay, I don't want to yuck your yum, but like, no, I do not like this ship. I'm jumping off the ship. Bye.
Yeah,
Jumping off the
I
ship.
would like to exit, please. Yeah, it's. Ugh. But I think like also the nice thing about Sailor Moon and like the nice thing about like media like this is that it allows you to explore these concepts in a safe way, right? Like there is no risk of you like actually being hurt. But ooh, what would it be like to be with a bad boy and like kind of exploring those concepts? But yeah, I still man's.
But we can't forget the best part of the entire arc is that Tuxedo Mask saves her from a magic hang glider.
Oh yeah, that's right.
His hang glider of justice. He hang glides in. And I will never forget that.
I love. Yes.
Yeah, and I agree with Ninja Master 551. The Akashi sisters, Emerald and Black Lady, do a lot of the heavy lifting villain-wise in R.
Mm-hmm.
Diamond's more like just sits there and is like,
I'm cool and fashionable in my evil tower of evil.
Well, was there any other characters we wanted to go over before we get into the fandom section?
Not off the top of my head.
I think I got everybody.
Oh, Fiore.
Oh, Fiore's an interesting case.
Oh. I was like, wait a second. There's another toxic romance.
Love bordering on obsession, or?
Yeah.
If you also want to just cover love bordering on Inception, Beryl and Mamoru.
Yes, that
Good
too.
point. Oh yeah, because that gets scary so many times brainwashing him.
Mm-hmm.
No, 100%. Also, that number in the Super Live, just absolute perfection. So good.
Are we talking about Beryl's solo Has Been Hotel song?
Yeah. Yes.
Awesome.
Yes. Okay, please hold. We have. Okay.
Yeah, something I would love to have seen expanded upon in Crystal was Beryl's backstory, because she was like a earth shepherdess. We do see a glimpse of it in Crystal, but we don't see it expanded upon, because I want to see a longer version of her fall from grace. Like, how did she become like this shepherdess to like who we know?
No, yeah, like what kind of transforms her from this? I think. Okay, so one of my like therapy colleague homies sent me this like kind of critical analysis of the meaning and concept of love, and kind of looking at researcher Lee's 1977 article, kind of splitting love into these various kind of subsets. And you see this in like Yuri on Ice specifically. So you guys are probably already familiar with some of these, but like Eros as this type of love is characterized by strong and passionate passion. People who experience this type of love feel fascinated and crazy about their partner. Eros is a classic form of romantic love, and emotions and physical desires are felt with great intensity. Ludus is like a competitive and playful approach to relationships. People who adhere to this type of love see relationships as a game to be won or a challenge. They might enjoy games, quests, and the challenge of teasing or conquering a partner. Storge is this type of love grows from friendships and relationships that build on similar interests. This is a love that slowly grows and develops from the intimacy and mutual understanding that has existed over a long time, often found in relationships that begin as friendships and then develop into deeper ones. I'm going to skip a little bit. Mania is like a type of love that tends to be obsessive. Individuals experiencing this type of love may feel anxious or insecure in their relationships and tend to pursue their partners with a need for constant attention and validation, strong and unstable emotions. And then kind of in contrast to Eros, we have like agape, a form of love based on commitment, sacrifice, and selfless care for one's partner. It is altruistic and ennobling love in which individuals are prepared to make sacrifices for the happiness and well-being of their partner. Agape is often considered the noblest and most loving form of love. And then there's selflessness, which is kind of this like darker side of the coin of agape, of a person's attitude or behavior that is not selfish or selfless. In the context of love, selflessness describes a person's ability or tendency to put the needs, happiness, and well-being of their partner or loved one above their own personal interests. So what is it to like lose yourself in that, right? Of not looking out for yourself at all. And I think like with Beryl and Diamond and like Wicked Lady, there's like this mania kind of quality to their love towards whatever the target of their interests are, of like, I derive my meaning from your attention, and if that is gone, then like I cease to have meaning. And so they are very desperate in their attempts to kind of go after these characters. And like for people that have like a strong stable sense of self, like that's like kind of icky. It's, you no, get away from me. No thanks. Whereas like characters that are like more psychologically vulnerable are more likely to kind of fall into that trap, right? So looking at like Mina in Super S, where she's like low-key two-timing Tiger's Eye and Hawk's Eye, but like she's vulnerable to their advances because she's not sure of herself. She likes feeling special. That's why she's two-timing, right? You know, all of these things of like, it's interesting to kind of look at all of the different ways in which like love is portrayed in Sailor Moon and like how that plays out within these character roles, and like Beryl in particular of like being so obsessive over Mamoru is almost like this parallel to Diamond, right? Where it's like, bruh, he don't even know you exist. Like, hello? But you're still going after him and ruining the world in the process, right? Of there's nothing that I wouldn't do.
I will say Sailor Moon doesn't reward bad behavior.
Yeah.
I think that's a big pinnacle of it.
Yeah, because like
it's
not
great
every...
to have that contrast of like obsessive love and actual like how you worded agape love, because you see that agape kind of love like within the senshi, like the spider. There's a lot of ways we show our love and friendship towards each other, and that example from the R movie, like when Usagi came to our lives, like it just made everything better.
It did.
Yeah, no, exactly. Like I think that's kind of the like unconditional positive regard too, right? Of like this agape, like, okay, Usagi is going to love and accept you no matter what, as long as you are being true to yourself, as long as you're being honest. And even if you cause harm, are you willing to put in the work to do repair? In which case you will be healed rather than destroyed.
And that's one of the things I really liked about Sailor Moon. It's within the first season when I've noticed, oh, she's actually like healing the people who turn into monsters. She doesn't outright unalive them. She's, hey, this was an innocent person who was just manipulated by the dark forces. I'm going to go and heal them because there is someone good in there. And I see the good in that person. Let's go heal them.
Yeah, I want to. Her thing is not immediately, let's kill it with fire because we don't understand it. It's like, I want to understand this. And after that, like, if you're still like, yeah, you gotta die. Okay, bestie, I'm not going to, allow you to hurt the earth. I'm not going to allow you to hurt my friends. Like, you gotta go. I think like It's like the fight with Udiel right before Marine Cathedral with the diamond that's like the door. And like the door does not want to be
It's
here.
the
The
Venus
door does
Heart
not.
episode.
Yeah, she does not want to fight. And Usagi's, do I gotta? I feel kind of bad. Like, even with this, hi, this was not a person. This was literally a freaking doorknob like 2 hours ago. But
Usagi still has empathy for them.
yeah. And I think like with the Amazon trio and the quartet, right, of like they want to do better. They have seen kind of Usagi's way of being, right? It's not their fault that they were like literal critters 5 seconds ago or woken up by Nehelenia a little too early and then manipulated into being, right? So once they've been exposed to Usagi, once they've like kind of seen her way of doing and being, they're like, oh, hey, actually, maybe we were wrong. Maybe I want what she's got. And she's like, okay, bet. Healing. Here you go. New life. Enjoy. That's fine. And even Galaxia, right? In the end, she like refuses to fight her. Like in the anime, like she's just taking hit after hit after hit, trying to understand, trying to, you know, help me help you sort of a thing. And like her adamant refusal to believe that Galaxia is all bad, to paint her with this single brush, is ultimately what saves the world. And I think like in the manga, right, like when she's at the Galaxy Cauldron and is given the choice of like, okay, you can end this cycle forever, or you can keep fighting and get all your homies back forever. And she's like, no, I'm picking the homies every single time, right? I'm not going to sacrifice them, their individuality, for alleviation of my own suffering. And I'm not going to make that choice for them either, right? Like I'm going to allow them to continue to make their own choices. So even within this like kind of predetermined narrative, right, of, oh, you were born again, you were destined to find Mamoru, you were destined to become Sailor Senshi. Haruka has a moment where she like refuses this call to destiny. Like she could have been like, no, I'm not doing this shit. Usagi could have done the same, right? In Stars, like Chibi Usa is literally fading out of existence because Mamo is dead, and if we don't fix our shit, she's not going to exist no more, right? So even within this kind of, oh, everything is set in stone, this is how things are supposed to be, you still have choices, right? Like you are not trapped by this narrative. And I think that's also like one of the more powerful messages of Sailor Moon, of like, hey, you don't have to do this just because some moon lady told you that like you're actually the reincarnation of a princess.
And that's one of the things I like about PGSM, because there's this point
Mhm.
in the show where Usagi and Mamoru are like, you know what, even if we have like this, we are star-crossed lovers, even though our relationship might not work out in the present time, let's just see each other anyway. Because there's a few points in Sailor Moon where I just kind of feel like the whole destiny thing is kind of forced. Whereas one of the things I really like about PGSM is like, you know what, despite our past, we like each other in the present. Let's just kind of just see how things go in the present, because I really like the fact that PGSM really challenged a lot of the things I had issues with in the original, and they added more value to like a lot of the characters. They expanded upon the characters. And I know we talked about earlier about, for example, Mercury, like, yeah, am I a useful Sailor Scout? And then also be manipulated by the Dark Kingdom to then go into Evil Mercury.
Yes, absolutely. Right. Of like somebody that's like more psychologically vulnerable. But yeah. Anywho, I think we should talk about like fandom and like kind of impact of the series on viewers.
And viewers like you.
Since I know you have a book, kind of talking about a lot of these bits and pieces. Do you want to like share a little bit of like your experiences within fandom? And
Yeah, I can just kind of talk about my experience with fandom and the fandom as a whole. I do credit shoujo anime, especially the popularity of shoujo anime in the late 90s. It really changed the face of anime fandom. For a while, shoujo anime was like what we associate anime with back then. Because in the late 90s, when I look at old photos from Kevin Lillard's Fans View website, because I also host a show called Fans View Fridays, you see a lot of people, all genders of all ages, cosplaying as a Sailor Senshi. And then you have folks also, after watching Sailor Moon, you got into Cardcaptor Sakura. You may have got into Magic Knight Rayearth. Or you also may have got into Utena, which is my personal favorite. And seeing like the volume of cosplayers from all these shoujo series just kind of make like this splash like in the late 90s at conventions and into the early 2000s before we had that huge shonen boom, it just really changed the demographics of fandom. You had more femme presenting people coming in. You had more LGBTQ plus people coming into the fandom. And I'm talking about anime fandom as a whole because I also remember when anime was kind of a niche thing, it was like this cyberpunk, edgy kind of thing. Manga man says this ain't for kids. And then when you have the successes of Sailor Moon, more companies started paying attention to bring in shoujo and shoujo adjacent anime. Like we got Marmalade Boy from Tokyo Pop. We got Yori Dongo. Central Park Media released Utena, and we had all these titles coming in because back then, like shoujo wasn't really seen as like a viable thing to put on the commercial market because what was selling was like all the edgy stuff that was falling from, picking back off the themes of Akira, of cyberpunk, all these high concept anime coming in that was just mainly for adults. But shoujo comes in, Pokemon comes in, your audience is much more on the younger side. It's much more femme, and it's gayer too.
It's exceptionally fruity out here, kids. I did my honors thesis in psychology. I actually got to run my own study, and I did it on like mentoring relationships within the cosplay community. And just for like reference, this was like redacted years ago, over a decade. But like generally speaking in the US, like we estimate around like 3% of the US population is some kind of like LGBTQ. My sample was like 150 odd people I think responded to like the survey. Or no, it was higher than that for the survey. I think it was like 250, something like that. Not a representative sample, like comedian sampling, whatever. So this may not generalize to the cosplay community as a whole. Nevertheless, like 50% of respondents were some kind of alphabet mafia, which is like extremely high. And like in some of the qualitative interviews that I had done for it, they were talking about like how cosplay and like going to anime conventions and all of these things like allowed them to try on some of these identities in a safe way and then see what felt like normative to them and like, oh hey, can I be like this? Can I do this in real life? That sort of a thing, and like really help them with their coming out process and like discovering gender identity or sexuality and like how they wanted to be. And like Monica, one of our other co-hosts, is like, yeah, Sailor Uranus was the roadmap for that. I want that. I am going to be that. And she absolutely is. And we love her for it. Yeah, like that's a huge part of this too, I think, is like that, like it's okay to be all of these things. And then, okay, hi, we have found a bunch of other people that resonate with this message and, who want to be supportive, who want to be kind and compassionate and, like, what would Usagi do? Sort of a thing. And so many of my own friendships have been like, yeah, because Sailor Moon or because cosplay, like I'm like looking like wedding planning, I'm like making my list and I'm like cosplay friend, cosplay friend, cosplay friend, cosplay friend, cosplay friend, cosplay adjacent friend, cosplay friend, cosplay friend, like, because I think, when we were growing up, like anime was not cool. If you liked anime, you were being bullied. You were being thrown into lockers. Like
I had my Sailor Moon messenger bag. I had like my Sailor Moon figures on my desk. And people are like, that's so annoying. I'm like, hi, you watch Bananas Pajamas. You have no right to tell me that my thing is annoying.
Yeah.
No, exactly. I literally had a kid put gum in my hair because I liked anime. I'll never forget that. I was so upset because I like long hair. And they were literally like, you're such a, like nerd. Weirdo. And they threw gum in my hair. And I'm like, yeah, no, in the 90s, it was not cool to like anime.
Yeah, I remember even going to high school, people were like, "Yeah, you better kinda dial it down on liking the anime
Mhm.
stuff." Like, "No, I'm not gonna dial it down. I don't care about being the weird girl who wears cat ears."
Yeah.
I was the weird
Exactly.
girl who wore cat ears and carry on around a cat plush with me because it was like my guardian companimal because
Yes.
it's like Sailor Venus.
Yes. Oh my god.
But I also I wanted to add that when you had, like, these convention spaces and just being an adolescent, not really having a lot of friends in middle school,
Mhm.
high school, going to conventions is, like, my favorite 3rd space
Yeah.
'cause I actually came out, like, at one of the first anime conventions I attended, and I was able to just sit around with a bunch of "Wait, everyone at this table is queer."
Mhm.
Right, like, let's talk. I'm with my people. I can safely talk about my identity
Right.
without someone having to judge me or someone having to turn me into the principal on
Mm.
that. So, like, this it really was a really safe space back then to just come out and just kind of be who you are. I mean, I'm glad that these days, like, we have like LGBTQ plus alliances on high school campuses. I used to run one when I was a
Mm.
school counselor, and I used to be very supportive when I was working in the K through 12 space, and just kind of seeing like people coming in, like recognizing when I'm wearing my Demon Slayer cosplay,
Mhm.
like on Halloween. Oh, I love your Shinobu. Thank you.
Mhm.
Or like sometimes I even saw like a girl dressed in full Lolita, like
Mhm.
at school. It's like, hey, I love your Lolita outfit. Like, wait, you know what it is? Yeah, sure.
Yeah. Oh.
Sure do. So,
Mhm.
like, I always also just coming from the adult, just kinda, like, looking into, like, all these adolescents coming in because sometimes it's really hard to tell because I'm not really engaged with, like, what kids are how kids are to each other these days.
Yeah.
Like, so like, the Lolita who's wearing that outfit's probably just being made fun of by the Scenester kids or whatever kids wear
Mhm.
these days. It's like, "Yeah, I'll make your day. I'll tell you got a nice outfit. I know what that is." Or, like, I'll be meeting with a kid like, "Hey, I like your Chainsaw Man backpack." And even
Yeah.
when I had decorated my office, I
Mhm.
had, like, all my nerd stuff there.
Yes.
And then I even had, like, Love Live on there, and there's this kid who's like, "Wait, you know what that is?" "Yeah, I went to one of their concerts at Anime Expo
Mhm.
twice." Like, "What?" Like, "Yeah, I do." And
Yeah.
yeah, me being into anime and with anime being as big as it is right now, because I can go into, like, Netflix or, like, any
Mhm.
streaming services and just get my anime just like that. After
Yeah.
this conversation, I'm probably gonna go to Hulu and watch Sailor Moon and without having to wait, like, weeks on end for, like, a fan sub
Oh
VHS tape to
gosh.
come in. Um,
Yes. Or like back when Netflix actually sent you DVDs in the mail.
oh, yeah. Yeah, and just kind of, like, being that adult that's also into just is unafraid of being nerdy and just
Mhm.
kinda show, like, to, like, kids who may or may not be bullied by liking anime. It's like, yeah, it's a cool thing, like, even adults are into it, and, yeah, all are welcome here.
Yeah, exactly. I think it's fostered like a lot more like social acceptance and all of these things and like opened so many doors for people. And it's always delightful when like the kids like clock like something and they're like, is
Mhm.
that Sailor Moon? I'm like, yeah.
Yeah, it is Sailor
Like
Moon.
they're like, huh? Like my favorite like one of my favorite like interventions with a kid client that I've had for a long time was like in the beginning I was working for like a community mental health agency and like turnover was really high and this kid had been through like 4 therapists in as many months, so she was like, absolutely not, I am not talking to you, lady, like mm-mm, you're getting nothing out of me. I was like, okay, I see. And this is during the panorama and did not want to do video, so it was just the phone. So I'm just like yapping about myself and my interests, trying to see if she'll bite on anything. And I was like talking about Sailor Moon and stuff like that. And she's like, wait, you like anime? I'm like, yeah. Like, I've been into anime since like before you were alive. And she's like, really? I'm like, yeah. Do you like anime? And she's like, yeah. I'm like, tell me about your favorite anime. And then like, okay, what do you like about this character? What don't you like about this character? That sort of a thing. Like, what do you see in yourself in this person or not? What makes them relatable to you? And that was kind of like our way in to the work and like building that trust and rapport. It's my sneaking the broccoli in with the mac and cheese of like, haha, you've revealed critical information about how your brain works and you haven't even realized it. Hee hee hee. But yeah. And also just looking at, okay, what would this character do if they were in your shoes? Like, what would they say, or how would they react to this situation with your friends? Kind of getting them to think about things from this external perspective, which is like one of kind of the core like tenets of ACT, is like, how do we separate you from the situation that you're in so that you can think about it more flexibly? And ACT is very much about life is like public transit, and like public transit rarely gets you from point A to point B exactly where you want to go, right? Of very rarely does it stop directly outside of your house and directly outside of your destination. And that sucks and is a huge pain in the butt as a Bostonian. And sometimes it breaks down and sometimes it catches on fire and sometimes it floods. And that's all very, very delightful. And sometimes the train countdown gaslights you. I'm not bitter, it's fine. But, you know, like what like train is going to get you closest to where you want to go, and then how do we make choices that get us closer to where we want to be? How do we make the best out of crappy situations, right? Like, how do we live with ourselves in these sorts of circumstances? And I think Sailor Moon does that really, really well, where, you know, like the outer senshi are handed like kind of this garbage card. Same thing with Pluto, where it's like, hey, how do we world's gonna end if we don't kill a baby. How do we like be okay with this, right? And like also Usagi being like, no, F that, like get in the car, loser, we're going baby saving. You know, I'm picking a different mode of transportation.
Yeah, I wrote an editorial a while back. I'm just trying to remember what my purpose was of writing it. And I was like, yeah, Sailor Moon S could have just ended the last episode, just the final showdown between Pharaoh 90 or whatever. But the last episode ends on like, what are we gonna do with Hotaru?
Evil baby.
I'd say though the end of S is one of the best of Sailor Moon. Because we just recently did an episode where we ranked the saddest moments and we argued about it. And I think that came in at number 3 when she's like pounding on the ground and trying to transform into Sailor Moon. And she can't transform and it just breaks her heart because she wants to save Hotaru so badly.
Yeah.
Like, I feel like at any age you get how important that scene is.
Yeah. Oh, that one destroys me every single time. Like, any version, like Cloverway, Japanese, Viz dub, like wrecked every single time. But yeah, so like I'll often kind of use like different fandoms as like means of engaging people and like getting them to think about their problems differently, or, you know, this character that you idolize, like how would they handle this, and can we channel some of that for yourself, right? Kind of the fake it till you make it sort of mentality in a way that feels like natural to you. But yeah, and like sometimes, you know, like values are too important to compromise on, right? Like Usagi with like, no, we are not killing a baby for the love of God, right? You know, I will not be able to look myself in the mirror if we make this choice, and I'm not going to allow it to happen. I'm going to do everything. I'm willing to sacrifice anything to prevent this from happening. And that's the one thing with Usagi, is that she stands 10 toes down on business with her values 100% of the time. So
she gives the scouts something to believe in when they don't have any belief in all.
Absolutely.
Especially in S at the end.
Yeah.
Sorry, I'm like harping at
no,
that end,
but
that end is
yeah,
so good.
Right, because she is like, even when she's wrong, even when she like screws up, whatever, she's so strong, she is so steadfast in her convictions that you are like forced to believe in her because of like how hardcore she is with these. And I think that being true to yourself, like living according to your own values, living in the way that you think is best, right? That's something that I want for all of my clients. So, hey, what would Sailor Moon do? Can be therapeutic intervention, actually.
Yeah, put that on a ribbon or like on a bracelet. What would Usagi do?
Yeah.
Oh, that would be cute.
Snack first.
Oh my god.
Have a snack first is exactly
Yes.
right.
Yes, yes.
No, I was gonna say, and I feel like most people's favorite scenes of Sailor Moon, those emotional moments.
Absolutely.
Because I'm just curious, Ari, what's your favorite scene of Sailor Moon ever?
And
And it can be
Are we
any
going for
version.
comedy or are we going for drama?
I mean, when we did our favorite episodes of Sailor Moon panel, we literally listed all 5 seasons, all of their deaths. So you can go as dramatic as you want, or you can be as funny as you want, whatever, or you can list both.
Okay, dramatic. I'm gonna have to go with like the original Japanese finale of season 1.
Oh, brutal.
Especially the
Brutal.
two-parter.
The two-parter version.
No, I'll never forget Ray's line.
And the way that Senshi died.
Yes.
It didn't process it to me as a kid, just the way their bodies are laid out. It's like,
yeah.
Just watching because I'm much more like, I notice a lot more things like as an adult, like the choices, like, oh my god, like these girls were fighting to stay alive.
Yes.
And then if we're going for comedy, definitely the episode Hercules and Luna.
Yes, was always said with the rats.
Yes.
I love that episode. Mina getting her heart crystal. Mina's heart crystal crisis.
You're hitting like all of the ones that we picked.
No, that's
let's see. In our Ray's Day in the Spotlight.
Ooh.
Oh, good one.
Because you can really see like all the pain she just goes again, just going back to Ray, like the only love she knows is tough love. Because that's how she was raised. And then like when she's put in a leadership girl boss position, we're looking at the toxic side of what it means to girl boss. Because people are not a fan of how she leads. But I want to get this whole talent show off the ground. I'm working so hard. Not only I'm being the girl boss behind this, I'm also writing my own songs. I'm also performing in this too. And just as a creative, I felt that in my soul, in my fire soul. But I think those would definitely be up there. I think there was another one of stars that I really like. It's also a silly, like Usagi say a date one.
Yes,
I like that one because you have a scene where same place. Yeah, let's go back to my room, but it's actually played for just comedic laughs because I love Seiya out of the Starlights, and
they're so good.
I think those would be the ones that would stand out the most.
Lily Cosplay coming and saying, if Venus wasn't the goddess of love, they could have given her a Wicked Lady arc instead due to a desperation of love. And they could have removed Chibi Usa completely.
Yeah.
I can see that.
I can see it.
Venus.
Yeah.
I mean, evil Venus would get shit done.
She would be very efficient.
Fire.
Right?
Because, like, we see a little bit of that with the 2-timing episode, right? Like, she's a little evil in that one.
Yeah, and then Ura says, to quote Glinda, I don't even think he's perfect anymore, and I still want him, is how everybody feels about Mamoru and Sailor Moon.
Yeah.
You're not wrong. And then Ninja Master 551 coming in saying, in Chibiusa's case, it's not just that she wants Mamoru for herself, but also feels she needs to make herself desirable for him. Ooh. It's a lot when you think about it, but fascinating at the same time.
Yeah, this is very much like Freud's kind of like Oedipus Electra complex manifest sort of a thing where like Freud's whole bit is like, I said I wasn't going to go down this rabbit hole and now I'm going down the damn rabbit hole. But like Freud's whole bit was like he had his psychosexual stages of development. I will rant and rave about my beef with Freud at a later date because y'all don't need beef with a dead man. But I'm like, how do I sum this up? Believe women. But basically, like, his theory of development is like, kind of similar to Erickson's, where you have these like complexes that you have to resolve at each age and stage in development. But apparently during puberty, nothing is happening. And I'm like, sir. Anyway, right before puberty, we have our like Oedipus and like Electra complex of you like romantically identify with the like opposite sex parent and want to, like, you have a little crush on your dad or like a little crush on your mom. And if you resolve that successfully, then you can go on to have healthy adult relationships. And like you do see this a little bit in like very young children of, oh, I want to marry daddy when I grow up, like that sort of a thing. So it's like this kind of tilted to this like extreme of what would happen if we like gave a child like everything that they wanted, sort of a thing, which is why like Wise Man is like so disgusting. But also like Chibi Usa's central like issue is that she cannot grow up because she's been so traumatized. But yeah, so it's okay. I want to grow up. I want to be like, what is it to be a grown-up lady? And this is like this kind of very childish like view of that, right? Like down to Wicked Lady's costuming, right? Of, hi, this is why I sell black opium, the advertisement, right? Of, ooh, I saw this pretty lady in Mom's magazine, right? This is the dress that I want to be like a lady. But yeah, so it's just kind of that playing out because it was the 90s and we loved a Freud in anime, I guess.
To top that off, Ura says, cut off her hair, maybe she'll lose her powers, which is a door knobber line from Cloverway.
Yes.
And then Lily also says the concept of second chances is another huge theme in the series.
Mhm.
Oh, definitely.
I think it always
100%.
it gives me hope that people can have a second chance. You know what I mean?
Mm. Yeah.
Like, it's such a hopeful show. And then, Ari, I know you might be excited about this one. It's a PGSM quote. So Ura says, the PGSM after the big character change that happens with Minako happens towards the end of the series, happens to her, and Mamoru comes back and he sees Usagi is holding back her emotions. He holds her and tells her to let it out. That is such a good scene.
Mm.
Yes.
What a good, wow, Mamoru being good? What scene are we in?
I know, because like Momo in the 90s dub is like such a prick. Like he is so mean for no reason. Like none.
I think they just want to just harp into that like 90s rom-com trope, like
Mhm.
disliked lovers kind of thing. Yeah, I'm gonna be a jerk to you, and then we're gonna fall in love. And
Right.
then throughout and then like through the subsequent series after our Mamoru, what happened to your personality? You're just kind of there.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, I guess. So.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And I just kind of feel like in R, he's more reactive than actually having a personality. Oh, my future self is testing me. Oh, okay, guess we're breaking up.
Mhm.
God, that whole arc is
I hate that arc so
Even
much.
as a kid, I was like, dude, you broke her heart. And they're like, why are you doing this?
Yeah.
Why?
Like, can you stop being such a butt?
Yep. And then Yolanda 2020 comes in saying, I really love how PJSM showed Mercury's insecurities about if Usagi was her only friend because they were both senshi.
Mhm.
That is a really good Dark Mercury arc is just like phenomenal.
Yeah, there's so many things I'm so glad PGSM just did, and just to like just give us more character lore, character depth, and they weren't afraid to like just experiment and to just try something new.
Mhm.
No, and it really paid off.
Mm-hmm.
And then Lily coming in saying, Shoujo anime is the best, Sailor Moon, lots of clamp utena. Yes.
Yes. The good.
And then Lily also says, I genuinely believe that growing up with the shoujo manga anime has inherently made me much more open-minded and caring as a person, since these characters I loved and admired and wanted to be like. That's so special, but you're so right. Because I definitely grew up wanting to be like Sailor Moon.
Yeah, I grew up with Utena. I wanted to be the school sword lesbian. So
Yes.
I want to be a prince who saves princesses, but I can still be feminine about it.
Yes. Oh my god. We should do like a deep dive on like just Ikuhara at some point.
Go back and revisit, because we did an episode on how the third movie in Sailor Moon was actually supposed to be about Uranus and Neptune.
Yes, I remember hearing about that, but didn't like Ikuhara. It's like, I'll just recycle my Uranus and Neptune idea and make that the Utena movie.
Yep. That's why I swear it's so Haruka coded. Except for the car part. I can never figure out the car part, but that's...
Oh, you know that
she's the vehicle for revolution.
Oh, the car part. It's because this is actually quoted by Ikuhara.
Yeah.
On Moonwalker by Michael Jackson, and towards the end, Michael Jackson transforms into a car. He liked the
That's
idea.
it.
Yes. So
Okay.
Moonwalker, Michael Jackson transforms to a car.
It's
Yeah,
like,
let's add that
dope.
in.
Let's do it.
Ikuhara's like, what if we did that but with lesbians?
Yes.
Yeah.
And Utena, and the car I made for Utena, that's a car I would like to drive. Wow, that's very phallic, sir.
Yeah.
Right?
Yes.
Oh, and then coming in saying, I attribute my personality to the Senshi, but also to the 90s Disney princesses. I feel like the Venn diagram for people who are Sailor Moon fans and Disney princess fans is a circle.
Very nearly, yeah.
Yep.
Mulan was my first crush. And then Haruka came in.
Yeah.
And then Yolanda 2020 also says, Sailor Moon helped me open up more to gay, gender fluid, non-binary ideas. No, Sailor Moon really is such a good series.
Yeah, because I like took this like really weird random class in like undergrad because the honors college at UMass was very interesting. So they would have these seminar classes that were offered like only once and then never again unless they were like super duper popular. One of the ones that I took was like queer people, public opinion in the media, and we had done like a bunch of studies around like will and grace and like parasocial relationships with fictional characters changing public opinion and public policy towards queer people. So like we found that post like exposure to will and grace, people were like reporting more favorable attitudes towards LGBTQ people and like LGBTQ rights. So this is like kind of a documented phenomenon of if you don't have access to like people of this group in your real life, like just consuming media about them can help you to develop that sense of like empathy and, oh, okay, I get this now. And like, I don't have to hate you just because you're different, sort of a thing, which is really cool.
Yeah, it's my first exposure to positive LGBTQ representation. I saw the original Japanese first before I saw the Cloverway, so I would go to the local Japanese video store and rent VHS tapes of us. And so, hey, this is kind of neat. This is different. Like seeing a lesbian couple. Like I've never met a lesbian couple IRL, but like this is just kind of neat that they're also part of the Senshi team. I really had no pre-convictions or prejudgments with LGBTQ plus because I didn't really have a frame of reference to it. Like, hey, it's neat. They can be Sailor Senshi, so it's all good.
No, I've told this story before, Ari, but it'll make you laugh, I hope.
Sure.
I learned what a lesbian was through the Golden Girls.
That's awesome.
Yeah, through their episode on Dorothy's old friend being a lesbian, that's what I learned. And so I was right there with Blanche. So
I learned what a lesbian was accidentally in first grade when I said, I want to marry my best friend because boys have cooties.
Oh, no.
Excellent.
Oh, yeah, and I went to Catholic school, by the way. Guess how well that flew over.
Oh, no.
Delightful.
Boy.
Read my book.
Yeah, I think like everybody had my sexuality figured out before I did because like I was getting called slurs in like grade school and I'm like, what is that? And then I looked it up and I was like, oh, shit. Because like I knew I like had these feelings, but like I didn't have the words for them. And I'm like, okay, this is like a thing, but what is this?
What is this? The sudden and you.
Yes, exactly. Okay. That is what it was. But yeah. Oh my gosh.
All right, a few last comments and then it's almost time to wrap up the show.
Heck yeah.
This is a good conversation.
Yeah, like that's what I love about the show. I made this show, Ari, for people like me who didn't have Sailor Moon friends growing up. So that there could be a place for Moonies to come and talk and discuss and get together.
Nice.
So Ninja Master 551 brings up a good point. I'd argue part of the reason the people were stigmatized from liking anime was due to it being stigmatized as overly violent and sexual. Even Pokemon revived the satanic panic for a while.
Yeah, I do remember also going into Tower Records. Who remembers that store?
Oh God.
And like seeing the anime section there, like they also had the adult stuff like Kitty Media. Like that was just kind of out in the open. And I'm like, okay, this says here absolutely not for kids. This is probably the anime corn stuff that I've been
Yes.
hearing about. Gotta keep it safe for YouTube.
Yes,
Yeah.
yeah.
Mhm.
No, it definitely, I know my parents at first were like, I had the biggest argument ever with my babysitter because she said that they were naked when they were transforming. And she's like, I can't let you watch naked girls. And I'm like, they're wearing sparkles. And it was like a whole thing.
I
Oh,
tried setting up an anime club at my high school, but our activities director was like, "Oh, that's too risque." I'm like, I tried making an
yes,
argument like Totoro, Studio Ghibli,
yes.
and I kind of
Like,
felt like stigma was kind of lifting once Ghibli was going into mainstream. That anime was more than just tentacle corn.
yes. Yeah. No, I had the exact same like argument with my principal when I was trying to revive the anime club because the previous presidente had decided to access the tentacle corn on the school computers. So she thought that was all the anime was. And I was like, no, here's my petition. Here's my list of signatures. Here's my list of appropriate and acceptable media. Please let us have this. But yeah, no, absolutely. Sparkles are an outfit.
I know. I love
gonna
that
be
the
next
comment
ad
section is
ribbon.
like all excited about my mini headcanon. All right, and the last couple ones, Yolanda 2020 coming in saying, I once had to choose from different Sailor Moon seasons to buy episodes from S1. Heck yeah.
Correct answer.
And then they also say, what would Haruka do? Be efficient and awesome while flirting with cute girls.
Exactly.
Yes.
Be the Haruka you want to see in the world, friends. Life's too short.
And then Ura says, I still remember where I was when I first saw the scene of the Inner Senshi getting their star seeds removed by Galaxia. That scene plays on loop in my mind. Is that trauma? Did someone give me PTSD? I'm too young.
There is actually like a study or like a series of studies, a series of meta-analyses, DSM 4TR and 5. We're on 5TR now, which stands for text revision because we can't just go to the next number, I suppose. But like I was taking like A&D and a bunch of my upper level classes in the summer between DSMs. And there was like this big debate about like changing the criteria for PTSD, blah, 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 blah. And a lot of people that had viewed like 9/11 on loop were like claiming PTSD, blah, blah, because like, okay, I have my Criterion A event. I watched people die. Like I keep having flashbacks, this, that, the third. And eventually what the APA ended up deciding was that unless your like indirect exposure to trauma is not like somebody close to you or as like part of your work, so like the poor FBI agents reviewing the files, then like you would not qualify as having a Criterion A event for PTSD diagnosis. However, like we talk about like I always frame trauma as like capital T trauma. Hi, Criterion A event. This thing qualifies you for PTSD. And like little t trauma. So yeah, that was probably pretty traumatizing for like a young kid. But no, you cannot have PTSD from watching TV essentially, unless like you are watching your like friend or close relative being like harmed in a life-threatening or altering way. But yeah, so traumatizing.
Right. Totally traumatizing. And with that, we are officially at time, so I'm sorry we can't go over any other comments. Thank you all to our lovely audience. You guys are always great. We love your contributions, but it is time to wrap up the show.
Alrighty, so this has been our 4th episode of season 5. Our
Wait, what?
March.
Looks
I don't
episode
know.
2.
It's episode 2.
I don't
Oh.
know.
I wrote it wrong. I'm sorry.
This is episode 2 of season 5,
Right.
right? We are so glad that we could bring you this month's episode. And if you enjoyed the show tonight and want to see more, please follow us on our socials. All of those links are in the link tree in our description. Previous episodes of Eternal Mooncast are available on YouTube. Remember to like and subscribe and hit that notification bell to receive our notifications. It would really help YouTube to make sure that we can keep growing our little community by telling the algorithm that people like us. So thank you so much for tuning in and sticking with us to the end. I have been your co-host, Fancy Duckie. You can follow me in these places and hopefully watch me finish Big Red Annoying Lady in the background. And that's it for me.
All right. And then, Ari, would you like to go ahead?
Oh,
Plug
absolutely.
yourself.
Sure. Again, I am Cosplay Ancestor area. I've been in the community since 1999 and attending conventions for that long. And with that long, maybe I should write a book about it. And I did. And I wrote a book called The Fangirl Diaries, which is, hang on, this book right here. I got a copy of my book right here. Basically, this is all about anime fandom in the 90s and early 2000s. So if you wonder what it was like to watch and wake up to Sailor Moon, a Speed Racer on MTV, Toonami, learning about Magic Knight Rare through Mixzine, and so much more. A time when anime fandom was very much defined by shoujo and whatever the heck was on Toonami. An era before streaming, an era before social media, because cosplay, we'll just go to the thrift store and we'll just figure out ourselves, or we'll pay Setsuna Co. a buttload of money to make a costume for us. Like, hey, Setsuna, do you want to make me a Mars cosplay? Yeah, sure. Like, thanks, Setsuna. But yeah, it's up here in the Fangirl Diaries. You could scan the QR code to get your copy on Amazon. Amazon is like the cheapest place where you can get it, so highly recommend that. Scan the QR code if you want if you want a copy of it. Again, it's also one of the first books about the millennial experience within anime fandom. So if you're also looking for Y2K nostalgia, highly recommend it, because I really go into a lot of pop culture deep dives, because I was also a huge pop girly too. And also, you can follow me on my socials here. I'm fairly active on Instagram, Threads, and TikTok. If you like seeing some old like cosplay photos, old photos from like the 90s, mostly the early 2000s anime conventions, I have them all on TikTok. Or if you want to also just dive deeper into my convention reports, I've been reporting conventions, blogging about conventions since the early 2000s. My earliest convention report on my website is from 2003. So you can check that out on scarletrhapsody.com. And I also get a feeling that we also have a huge Boston audience, or maybe a New England audience out here. And I do have a lot of Anime Boston reports from the mid 2010s when I used to live out in New England. And I also just posted Anime Boston 2003 on Fans View Fridays. So if you want to know what Anime Boston was like back in Copley at a hotel, and all the Gundam Wing voice actors look like they're from like a new metal band,
Oh my gosh.
But yeah, check out my book, The Fangirl Diaries. Scan that QR code. Would love to have more readers. And if you've read the book, definitely give us a review on Amazon. Definitely give us a review on Goodreads, because that's what help keeps the needle moving. And I'm just very proud to say that I'm one of the few queer femme voices of fandom. And I would love to if more people can just support and read my book, because it is the first account of what it's like to be a millennial growing up with anime, again, as a teenager, in adolescence, and so forth. All right, that was a mouthful, but thank you so much for having me on the show. I really miss New England, really miss times. Yeah, like it was just a great honor to be here, because I've been a fan of Sailor Moon since 1995, and it's just stuck with me throughout the years. I got my Sailor Mars shrine. I have my Sailor Mars themed NASA jacket in to honor my dad as well.
Oh, that's so awesome.
I even remember telling him when they were like naming all the Mars rocks, like, you're gonna name one Ray, right? Sailor Mars, right? We didn't have privileges to name them, but they were like naming it after like Western cartoon character. Like,
yeah.
But yeah, just so proud to say that I've circled back that my favorite Senshi is my favorite girl boss, in both good ways and bad ways, Mars, because I'm also here for women's wrongs too.
I love it.
So say we all. Thank you so much for joining us. It was so lovely to have you and to sit and yap with it about Sailor Moon and mental health with you.
No, totally.
No, this was a blast. You gave some great additions, and it was so cool to get to hear your story.
Yes.
Thank you.
All right. In addition to Eternal Mooncast, you can find episodes of our sister show, Bishojo Senshi Slumber Party. On BSSP, we're currently rewatching the original 90s English Cloverway dub of Sailor Moon and reacting to that. For our watch along and reactions, our entire Patreon backlog is up for free, and we get together every month for a live stream to discuss what worked, what didn't, and which monster of the week we'd smash or pass. As always, I've been your host, Michi. You can find my personal socials at MEW21, some_cosplay. If you're into K-pop, head on over to K-pop Voyage, where me and my friends are reacting to K-pop, X-pop, and everything in between. All right, likes, comments, follows, or however you'd like to support Eternal Mooncasting your own way are always appreciated. Working hard on the show to be a place for Moonies to come together to discuss their theories, for their love and passion for Sailor Moon. Remember, copying what others do won't get you anywhere. What's important is being yourself. Ray Hino, good night.